For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people.
The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. All of this has happened.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. You are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win so much. You may even get tired of winning and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. 2024 is the final battle to save our country from destruction. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
How you doing, everybody?
Hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Looking forward to a new year. All right, Dr. J, where the hell are you?
I'm not at home.
Where you at?
Not at home. Two guesses. There's my friend.
There's a cactus. You're in Arizona.
I'm in Arizona.
There you go.
I'm out here in the desert.
It's a pretty good-looking desert from what I see.
Well,
it's got trees. All right. What city you in right now?
We're in Tucson. Tucson.
All right. Very
yeah,
good.
It'd be better if we didn't have flu in the house.
Yeah. Everybody's
like
sick.
I was.
Doesn't that
like
suck?
I was,
Every time you go travel, you got to get sick, right?
Yeah, you know. But yeah, we got to spend Christmas evening, not Christmas Eve, but the evening of Christmas in the emergency room. So, but we're doing better now.
Oh, good.
So, but awesome. Yeah, flu, that'll catch you. So, and it's about time for the sun to start going down and the temperature drops like a very poorly thrown brick here in the desert once the sun goes down. So I'm gonna.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be scooting inside.
All right, we'll be here.
I don't know. Is Vamp still on? He said he had to run off.
He had to go. Oh yeah, that was like 10 minutes ago. I didn't even read it. Yeah, I just saw the time scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we got like 9 in. So, all right, while you're scooting in, I'm going to go over what we're going to talk about tonight, amongst others.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
what's
think
up, Chris?
I'm going to do that. I'll let you start. I'm going to go in the house into our lovely little hacienda here.
All right.
Okay.
You're still on camera.
Yeah. No, we're still good. We're still good.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, that's much warmer.
We got some great stories this week, too.
We have something good. Yeah, I've been on vacay, so I really haven't had a chance to look at much.
Yeah, I've been on vacation, too. I'll go back to the 3rd.
So, okay, so I don't know if anybody got to look at the scenery, but that's all you get.
All right, there you go. So let's go take a look at some of the stories we're going to talk about tonight. So for our Canadian friends, Trump is making Canadians an offer they can't refuse.
Nice.
For some weird reason. Probably on the website. I can hear you breathing really hard.
Oh, it's because I got my headphones on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it. Here we go. Barry, how Barack Obama built an omnipotent thought machine and how it was destroyed. Yeah, that's coming through real loud, Dave.
Okay, let me uncouple.
Yeah, that was real loud. Sorry. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Yeah, still can't hear you. I can't hear you. Let's see. We'll work it. Oh, say something. Oh, I thought I heard it for a second. All right. Let's see. Here's who Trump told to go to hell on Christmas. and it's very valid. Ready to be blown away. Here's the secret sauce to identifying 60 years of U.S. psyops. Here we go. We knew something was up, right? High levels of radiation detected across the East Coast after the mysterious drones, right? Iowa Supreme Court. Iowa is all red. Their executive branch is red. I mean, oh, hold on. I got to bring her back in. There you go. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Oh, can hear you perfectly. Good.
Excellent.
So Iowa Supreme Court does away with the Fourth Amendment. and their legislature is solid. I think they have a supermajority, as a matter of fact.
They can't do that.
I know their governor, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, they're all red. Everything's red. You can't get redder except for their Supreme Court. Bunch of whack job lefties.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
Mexico is going to open shelters to house over 12,000 of its own citizens deported in Trump's illegal immigrant crackdown. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Oh, they won't pay for it. Then we got a bunch of other stuff. President Biden has spent 570 days, about 40% of his presidency, on vacation. Now, who doesn't believe that? Any hands? Crazy. Oh, just flipping crazy. Let's see. Who else is here? Chime in, guys. Who else is here? Is Jimmy here? Jimmy from Philly?
Let's see.
I see like 10 people, but I don't see anybody posting. Comment.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
other than Chris and Vamps. Vamps took off. All right, well, let's get into it then. Let's do the first one. From Right Scoop. Trump offers Canadian people huge tax cut if they join the U.S. He's been serious about this. 51st state. He said he'll make Trudeau the governor. No, he won't. All right. President-elect Trump wasn't joking when he suggested to Trudeau that Canada become America's 51st state. Wouldn't that be something? Trump has now offered the Canadian people a 60% tax cut if they agree to join the U.S. From the Daily Mail. Donald Trump has made his strongest bid yet to take over Canada, offering the Canadian people a 60% tax cut if they agree to join the U.S. and become the 51st U.S. state. Democrats everywhere are fighting to get those 2 extra Senate seats, guaranteed, and the electors. The president-elect has in recent days suggested a territorial expansion into Canada, Greenland, and Panama, and has mocked Prime Minister Justin Trudeau by calling him governor. I love it. On Christmas, Trump escalated his campaigns against the governments of both Panama and Canada. Yeah, in Panama, I think he wants to take the canal back because the Chinese now
doesn't want Panama. He just wants the canal.
Don't they govern both ends of the Panama Canal now?
No, there was a treaty where they let it go to the Panamanians, but the trick is in that treaty there's a clause that if there's something that endangers transit or endangers U.S. Interests, they can go in.
Oh, okay. Well, guess what? So he said, "Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago, always making certain that the United States puts in billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolutely nothing to say about anything," Trump wrote on Truth Social on Wednesday. Also, to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high. But if Canada was to become, they're not going to become the 51st state. But if Canada was to become the 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses would immediately double in size, and they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. And he's right about all that. But I don't think it would happen. Likewise, to the people of Greenland. Why do we want Greenland? Which is needed by the United States for national security purposes. Okay, and who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't Greenland one of the places where they had that woman? Was she a prime minister or a governor or something? And she was like Hitler with the COVID lockdowns?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember Australia went out of their minds, and because we're like, wait a minute, the Aussies went like COVID Nazi? Like, what the hell's that all about? But then I saw it was a woman in Greenland who apparently Supreme Leader Trudeau. Hey, what's up, Jill? How you doing, bro? Yeah, it was. I can't remember who it was. It was a woman who had power, and she was in New Zealand.
And, Australia and New Zealand went over the top.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking. Or I'm sorry, Greenland. He's talking about Greenland. I thought he said New Zealand. Yeah.
No. Greenland.
My bad. I mixed it up.
But interesting thing about Canada. Everybody's thinking, oh, well, how could he give such a tax break to all of those millions of people in Canada?
Because if they came down to our level.
That's the point, because all you would be doing is putting U.S. tax schedules. Here's the thing.
Thanks, bro.
If you want to have an idea, the last full year for which I filed a Canadian tax return that I worked in Canada.
Merry Christmas.
I paid. Thank you, Bass. Everybody have a Merry Christmas. Yeah, well, we did have a Merry Christmas. But the last year for which I filed a tax return, I paid 52% income tax between the province and the federal. 52%. Okay, and that was on a military salary. We're not talking Elon Musk levels here. We're talking a military salary.
Right.
So all you would have to do is I came down here and suddenly my tax rate was like 30% or 35%, whatever it was.
Yeah, but trust me, if the libs had their way, it'd be a hell of a lot higher. They even make arguments for I love it when they do that too. They go, well, during the Eisenhower reign, it was about 90%, and that's how we were the strongest economy in the world. Actually, no, nobody actually paid that amount. And if you did pay that amount, you were a stupid businessman, because there were so many loopholes, right? No one paid that. The reason why the United States was so powerful during the Eisenhower terms, because the war had just ended, and the United States was in the unique position of being the only country in the world that could handle the demand to manufacture all this shit that the rest of the world wanted to buy. We were the only refrigerators, cars. Go ahead.
We were the only superpower at that point.
Yeah, we were the only ones that could, and because like after World War I, World War II, everything changed as well, and now everybody wanted to be able to own stuff. They wanted to be consuming all the time.
Yeah, but
So,
World War
what's up,
II
ass?
World War II was the important one because we came out of the Depression, okay, into World War II. You came out of the Depression, everybody was struggling. We went into World War II basically kind of an agrarian society,
Right,
and we came out of
industrialized. Yeah,
World War II and not industrialized, an industrial heavyweight and
yeah.
the only superpower in the world.
Oh yeah,
So, yeah, World War II did that for us because you go into World War II. What needs to happen during war? Everybody needs to manufacture stuff.
right. Well, FDR told American corporations, he said, "We're not getting into it yet, but we're helping England, and when we do get into it, what I'm about to propose will continue." And he said that they would get um, uh, special tax. A lot of them got no tax during the war, but then for the rest of the life of the business, they would have this very low tax or no tax, depending on when they got in. They said if you get in after we enter the war, we'll still buy contracts, contract with you, but you won't get that tax. And so they all flooded to it to do that. So
Yeah, and then everybody
you too, man.
had something to do. Like um, the who is it? It was the typewriter company, not Royal.
Not Xerox.
No,
Who
no. Starts with an I. Anyway,
Oh.
this typewriter company. They were
I
making
know.
M1 carbines.
Yeah,
They're
well,
making rifles.
think about it. Mattel made the GI Joe, but he also made the M16.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people were repurposed during the
Oh yeah.
wartime,
Oh yeah.
and that helped kickstart. And that's why we ended up at the end of the
Yeah, because all
war.
they had to do is shift their manufacturing plants back.
Yeah.
They were ready to go.
Yep.
And we had, but the thing was, we had the entire world now wanted to buy stuff that we were manufacturing.
And the entire
because we
world.
bombed the living shit out of their homelands and we destroyed everything. So now we had to let them buy stuff from us.
Yeah, the entire world needed to rebuild, except for here.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know. American imperialism.
bite my ass.
I know. I hear them all the time. Still, they're going on.
America first, baby.
I know. Next story. Here we go. Oh, Barry, what are we going to do with you?
Yeah, excuse me for lying down, but this is on our vacation home. I got really no place to hide out.
Oh, that's fine. Hey, if I could lie down, I would lie down.
Yeah, I'm lying down. Screw it.
Yeah. All right. So where are we? Hold on. Did I open it? Yes, I did. I'm going to share this tab instead from tablet. Rapid onset political enlightenment. All right. How Barack Obama built an omnipotent thought machine and how it was destroyed by David Samuels. If anyone in the future cares enough to write an authentic history of the 2024 presidential campaign, they might begin by noting that American politics exists downstream of American culture. That was Breitbart kept saying that, which is a deep and broad river. Like any river, American culture follows a particular path, which has been reconfigured at key moments by new technologies. Exactly. In turn, these technologies, which redefine both space and time, canals and lakes, the postal system, the telegraph, railroads, radio, and later television, the internet, and most recently, the networking of billions of people in real time on social media platforms, set the rules by which stories are communicated, audiences are configured, and individuals define themselves. This is what the Trump people did. See, the tech gurus were always the lefties, right? And they were always donating to the Dems. Well, now we got some tech gurus on our side, not just Elon, there's others, right? And so you heard Vance Jones, the communist from the Obama administration, right? He was on CNN, like telling the people, Trump's not stupid. He's not an idiot. He doesn't own a computer or a laptop. He only has a phone, and yet he trumped us. And he said, we're the idiots. And he's right. They were. He said, we were laughing at him in Philly saying, where's your ground game? Why aren't you knocking on doors? Because they didn't have to, because they used technology, which is great. And once again, Elon Musk, he turned, not only did he turn X into a free speech outlet, but he made it so that independent journalists are there, and that people like you and me, Jade, and everybody here, that we can trash the legacy media a-holes with community notes. We can say, no, you're a liar. Here's the truth. And we can just do that now.
It's
So we destroyed them. We destroyed their messaging.
It's called fact checking.
It's called what?
Fact checking.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like real fact checking.
Yeah, no. And, if all you listened to was CNN and MSNBC, you'd believe all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, you believe all that garbage.
And, I mean, it's very clear. I mean, the Charlottesville hoax was like the best one. They showed the film, and
yeah, I have the link. I could show it to people.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, the point is they showed the video of Trump saying there's very fine people on both sides, but then they cut it off. If they would have kept it going for another 15 seconds, he said, except for the neo-Nazis.
Yeah, he said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally.
Yeah, and he said they should be denounced. Right. And then what I found very interesting was about half of the interviews after that, people would say, well, but will you denounce the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists?
Is that not crazy? One time he said, in his first term, running in the first time in 2016, he said, I don't know how many times I have to denounce it, but you guys keep asking me. I have denounced it, 5 times now? He goes, do I have to keep denouncing it? Why don't you ask them? But here's the thing, though. It goes further than that, Jade, because Dementia Joe actually launched his 2020 campaign based on the Charlottesville lie. And I remember Joel Pollack from Breitbart. He's I think he's like he's one of the big editors there. And he went to one of his little speeches, right? Outside, rally of 15 people maybe. And as he's walking away with a crowd around him, he walked up to him with his phone and played it and said, please pay attention to this. And he played it. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazi. And he goes, what's that? And he goes, well, that's showing that you keep saying falsehoods. Get out of my face. And he's like, no, sir. He goes, right here, Trump denounced those people, but you just gave a launch speech for your campaign saying that he called neo-Nazis and white nationalists very fine people. Because they're all scumbags on the left.
Yeah,
so, and you know what? He kept saying it all throughout all 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I could find you at least a dozen videos in which he does, and
yeah,
it was so bad. He'd be interviewed by one of these libnuts, and they would say, "Oh, but will you denounce the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists?"
Yeah,
and he says, "Yeah, I would denounce them." And like 30 seconds, it's like there's some sort of Star Trek time distortion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And right away, the same question. Yes, but will you denounce?
Yeah, but see, when you get close to these left-wing reporters, you start to feel something. You don't know what it is. Am I coming down with something? And then you realize it's your IQ points are draining, and you have to get away from them in order to gain them back. That's the truth. They are some of the dumbest people you will ever meet. The people in the media. They're stupid.
What's that clip that people play from? Oh, there was a movie, and it's
Was your typewriter company IBM? Is that who you were thinking of?
I thought there was another one. I think IBM was
Business Systems.
I think it might have been IBM.
Yeah, because see, Chill came up with that. Thank you, Chill. Yeah, he said IBM.
That's probably it.
Yeah, but go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
What was I saying? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize on that. But yeah, they're so stupid that they just go ahead.
Yeah, no, I remember there's a cut that people played from the movie, and I can't remember the name of the movie, but he's a guy. He just stands there with this stunned look on his face, and he says, something about
Animal House.
Nothing in that rambling.
Yeah.
Rambling.
It was Animal House
at all.
Yeah, he said.
Everyone in this room is now dumber from having heard it, and
yeah,
it's a great clip. He goes on.
Oh yeah, it's Animal. I believe it's Animal House, and they were at a school, at an auditorium, and they spoke They did something. I can't remember what they did, but the guy, yeah, I remember that guy. I think it was Animal House.
I thought it was like there was a movie like Office or something.
Anybody remember it? Nah, the Office Space? Nah. Hang on.
Yeah, somebody put it up there. I love that clip.
Let's see. Principal Mr. Madison. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. I got let me see. It is on YouTube, so I can play it. Here we go. Let's get rid of that. Let's play it here. Which one is it? Oh, I don't have it on YouTube. How do you like that? Let's get the YouTube URL. Put it up there.
So is it from Animal House?
I don't know. I don't think so. But
Yeah, I thought it was from Office Space or something. If anybody
no, it wasn't
knows.
Office Space. What was it? Mr. Madison, what you said. Yeah, what movie? They don't even tell you the movie. Oh, good Lord. All right, well, I'm just going to play it. Let me get this thing going. Here we go. Share screen. Wow. Okay, here we go. And this is it.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but
You remain one.
That's awesome. That's the clip, right?
That is the clip.
What's up, Chris?
And yeah.
Billy Madison. Yeah, that was it.
And Chris had it. Yeah.
I'm terrible
Billy
with
Madison.
the names of movies and what. I'm awful with the actors' names because I really don't care. I mean, I like a good movie and a good TV show, but I don't care enough about Hollywood lefties to get involved and know their stats. So let's see what's next.
I'm starting a GoFundMe for paying for their moving expenses. They can move to Europe or they can move to Canada, wherever they want to go.
Here we go. Here's who Trump told to go to hell on Christmas. I refuse to wish Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but instead I will say go to hell. He's talking about can you believe 37 death row inmates Biden spared. As part of his Christmas Day message Wednesday, President-elect Donald Trump told the 37 death row inmates President Joe Biden spared the lives of to go to hell. Trump refused to wish a Merry Christmas to the 37 out of 40 murderers and rapists who Biden saved from the death penalty and instead sentenced to life in prison. Quote, to the 37 most violent criminals who killed, raped, and plundered like virtually no one before them. He always does it, like virtually never before, like virtually no one, but I love it, before them. But we're just given, incredibly, a pardon by sleepy Joe Biden, Trump wrote on Truth Social. I refuse to wish Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but instead will say go to hell. Trump's condemnation of Biden scrapping the death penalty for dozens of ruthless criminals came after the Republican issued personalized season's greetings to China, Canadian Prime Minister, the governor, Justin Trudeau, and Greenland. Quote, Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where 38,000 people died to its building 110 years ago, always making certain that the United States puts its billions of dollars in repair money. Yeah, we always repair it, but we'll have absolutely no say about anything. Yeah, I think we already did this one, so we don't have to go.
Yeah, what's really funny is these libnuts, they're completely against capital punishment. They're completely against capital punishment.
Yeah.
Which, fine, if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. but yet they're for abortion on demand.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And somehow those two things go together.
Well, they do, you bigot.
Yeah, there you go. But, and there is an interesting thing. And for a long time, I didn't think about it like this. But, they say, when does life begin? Oh, we can't tell. Well, yes, we can.
Yeah, you can. Actually,
Yes, we can. Life begins at conception.
It does.
Because we know there is single-celled life. That is life. That is a separate unit that has different DNA. The question is not, when does life begin? The question is, when does human life begin?
Right. And I always said this about it. This was my take. I said, when you have a human sperm cell that meets with a human ovum cell, and they combine and eventually become what's called a zygote. Well, at what point was that not human?
Yeah, and
is that science? I did science, guys.
Yeah,
yay me.
The counter argument would be, well, it's got all the DNA, but it's only potential. It's obviously it's one cell.
Right. Somebody said I could spit on a log. And that's got my DNA.
A human is not one cell. It's clearly not human. However, and I'm not saying, I don't think there's an answer to that, because I don't think there's an answer to that.
My pet zygote. What would we do without these guys every week?
They're great. But I don't know that there's a specific answer. But the question is not when life begins, because it's clear. Life begins at conception.
Right.
When does human life begin? And everybody's got a different take on that.
I know. I gave mine.
Yours is one. Some people say when it's got a heartbeat. I don't know how that makes sense.
Yeah, I always say too. I say that the only thing that cell needs to become a full human is nutrition and time.
Yeah, but that's a potential human.
Hey, Linda.
I'm in my car. I'm not speeding. Hello, Linda. I'm not speeding, but I could be speeding.
Good to see you. Yeah.
So, and I'm not even arguing a specific point, because I don't think I know.
Right.
I don't think I know what specifically makes us human, because if you look at the embryology, it's very interesting. If you look at the embryology,
maybe not to us non-medical morons out here, but go ahead.
All right, I'll keep it short.
Yeah,
if you look at the embryology as as the embryo forms, and if you look at the embryology of other animal species, it's like they start at a very similar place. And various genes get turned on and off, and you get a tail or you don't get a tail.
I thought my girlfriend made me a sweater using embryology. I don't know. I got it wrong.
I think you got it wrong.
Yeah. I think so.
But
next story is you guys are gonna love the next story. Go ahead.
You look at all these animals. If you look at the various stages of the embryology, yeah,
that was pretty funny. Yeah,
that was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's clearly life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Let me stop this for a second. Do you know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? What did they call her? What was the word they call her? Something Ruth, or what did they call her? I forget the words. They used to call her something. It was like a cool name for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But I remember when the Libnuts, when she was going through her confirmation hearing, right? And I remember the Libnuts were trying in the media were trying to tell us, well, you guys should like her because she said that Roe v. Wade was wrong. And that's not what she said. What she said was, and see, they use anything to be able to lie and, just bullshit their way to you. But what Ruth Bader Ginsburg did say was she didn't like how the justices broke it down to trimesters, and because she said technology someday will get so good that we can literally tell when life begins. And that's why she didn't like it. That was the whole reason why. So
and she was absolutely right, because where is that arbitrary?
Hey, what's up, Cyber Boy?
Where is that arbitrary number?
Yeah, I know.
Say 12 weeks. Okay, that's nice. 12 weeks.
Yeah,
where did
what does
you
that
get
mean?
that? Where did you get that? You farted it out your hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's yeah. Yeah, they made a lot of this shit like that. The whole did you hear the whole 6 feet distancing?
Oh,
They
that
just
they did
pulled
the
it out
same
of their
thing.
ass.
Yeah, it just
They
it
said,
just
everybody will believe it. Let's just do that.
sounds like a good idea.
Meanwhile, you got the fucking stores all over America that are putting tape every 6 feet, and we got to stand there like morons. You know, I had a guy in front of me once. He goes, "I'd prefer you stand back." I said, "You're wearing a mask." "Yes, I am." I'm like, "Do you think masks work?" He goes, "Yes, I do." I said, "Then what the fuck is your problem with me standing right here? Your mask works. So shut up and turn around."
And by the way, the mask doesn't work.
I know they don't work. They didn't work.
But yeah, so that the whole arbitrary thing, this is no longer a medical argument. It's a philosophical argument, and it's a spectrum because
She's a doctor, by the way, for you new guys here. She's a medical doctor. But go ahead.
Because, like I said, life clearly begins. We know we have unicellular organism, bacteria. That is life.
Yeah.
That is a form of life. So
Right.
we have this fertilized cell, and the trick is to decide when is it human. Sometimes I've met people that aren't human until they're about 25, but that's a different
Well,
story.
they're Democrats, though. But
Yeah,
you
a lot of
gotta-
them were
yeah,
Democrats.
We shouldn't talk
Yeah.
about that.
Anyway, let's move on. This is
Yeah, I'm going to move on to the next story, which I think you guys are going to appreciate. This one is ready to be blown away. Here's the secret sauce to identifying 60 years of U.S. psyops. And here we go. Revolver. All right. Let's get it on. What we're about to share might not blow your mind. You probably already know what's up, but something remarkable is happening in this country right now, and it's worth talking about. Americans from both sides of the aisle, and even the middle, who used to blindly trust the government and so-called experts, are now questioning everything, which they should have all along. The same people who used to go with the flow are now giving every story and every elite claim a well-deserved side eye. All right. The awakening started decades ago for some, the so-called anti-government kooks who, right here, who were told to shun, mock, and dismiss as weirdos for daring to question the official narrative. This is the stereotypical 90s guy who you were told to mock and fear just because he didn't buy what the government was selling. Little did we know back then, but this guy was way ahead of his time and a national hero. You hear that, guys? We're national heroes. Don't tread on me. I love that, right? Widespread mistrust of the U.S. government, media, and experts didn't go mainstream until President Trump splashed onto the scene. That's another thing we have to thank. He called them fake news, right? That's why they hate him so much. It's one of the reasons. He's the cog in their machine, the disruptor who yanked back the curtain and exposed just enough to jolt the country awake. Thanks mostly to Trump's America First movement, we now know the truth. Many so-called experts are just political pawns. There's one big uniparty screwing us all over, and the fake news media is running a giant CIA psyop on the American people. Operation Mockingbird. Absolutely. That's right. We thought those CIA mind control tricks were reserved for foreign hellholes. Turns out they're using those same nasty tactics on us. How long is this? Let me see. CIA run the psyops. I don't think, well, if it's not that long. It's only a minute 32. Yay. All right, let's go. Let's play it. Hello?
You briefed the press, did you not, when you were there? Well, I had several jobs. One of my jobs was that of analyst. I also was an interrogator and indeed briefed the press when we, the CIA, wanted to circulate disinformation on a particular issue. Disinformation is not necessarily a lie.
You hear this shit? Disinformation is not necessarily a lie. And today our government created a whole department to try to stop it, but they were the ones that defined it.
Maybe I had.
Well, they wanted to create the department.
Yeah.
Journalist, I would go do the briefing and hope that he would put the information in print.
What was your percentage of success?
We were pretty successful in planning
A lot of dopes in government
of a rather rarefied nature. For instance, if we wanted to get across to the American public that the North Vietnamese were building up their force structure in South Vietnam, I would go to a journalist and advise him, that in the past 6 months, X number of North Vietnamese forces had come down the Ho Chi Minh Trail system through southern Laos.
And those those journalists were so fucking lazy and stupid, they didn't want to do their own research. Now, I know there wasn't the internet, but they had their ways to do their own research, and they just took these clowns' word for it.
There is no way a journalist can check that information.
No way.
That's data derived from radio intercepts, spy in the
They could find
sky
it. They'd have to
photography.
work for it.
So either he goes with the information or he doesn't, and ordinarily or usually, the journalist would go with it because it looked like some kind of exclusive, and
that's what I
our
wanted.
Percentage planning that kind of data was 70 to 80%.
Wow. All right, let's go back. Oh man.
They did that throughout the Vietnam War. They were constantly putting out, fake news, basically. Oh, we were winning here and we were winning there, and they lied about casualty counts. They lied about everything.
Let me say this: 55,000 soldiers died because the cowardly Democrats did not want to declare war on North Vietnam. What happened is in the UN, okay, the UN has a rule that if you are going to invade another country or do any kind of military tactics in another country, if you declare war on that country, then you don't have to tell, hey, what's up, Commander? Then you don't have to tell the enemy what you're planning to do. However, if you don't declare war, then you have to send all the information, like what hill you're going on, how many soldiers you're going to have there, what time it'll be. And you have to tell the UN, and then they in turn send a teletype. I don't know if they use those anymore, but that's what it was, to every member nation. So because we didn't declare war, because the Democrats didn't want to be known as warmongers, even though every 2 years during the war they voted to pay for it, right? So what would happen is we would say, all right, we're going to have 2,000 troops on this hill on this day. And Ho Chi Minh goes, oh, look at this. Let's have 4,000 troops on that hill on the other side at that time of day. And that's why, we won all the battles, but we lost the war. And it was because the goddamn politicians were the ones that were running it, not the military.
Yeah, well, typically what would happen is the U.S. forces would be told to go take up the hill. And so they'd take the hill. Then they get the message, okay, we made a breakthrough in the peace talks. You got to come down off the hill. So they'd come back off the hill and they'd be watching as the North Vietnamese regulars
would go right back in,
reoccupied all the holes.
Oh, yeah.
Then the next day, okay, peace talks have broken down. You got to go take that hill again. And so they'd have to go. And
we would have, I'll tell you what, we could have ended Vietnam so much quicker if they just declared war. And we didn't have to tell them what hills we were going to bomb, what villages we were going to go into. We didn't have to tell them anything, but they wouldn't do it.
It did get a little more complicated than that, because one of the biggest problems, and this would have been whether we had declared war or not, but the biggest problems is the troops were not moving in Vietnam. The North Vietnamese were moving through Cambodia and Laos. And if we would have declared war, we would have been limited. In fact, we were limited to that. And I'm forgetting it now. There was a SOG group where nobody knew who they were. They didn't wear insignia. They didn't wear rank. And they would go and do things that they weren't supposed to do in places they weren't supposed to be, i.e. Laos and Cambodia.
Right.
And that was a big problem, because they couldn't fight the enemy until they were like in their belly, because
right. Oh yeah, I know.
They came around the long way and came.
Let me get back to this. By now, you likely know how the CIA operates. They have a playbook for manipulating the masses, and it's probably not as complicated as some might think. Their go-to weapon is psychological operations, or PSYOPs, a fancy term for mind games, the mind fuck, on a global, now national scale. They plant narratives in the media. Well, that's Operation Mockingbird. They had CIA assets inside every major news. They still do. They plant narratives in the media, push emotional triggers, and flood the airwaves with carefully crafted crises to steer public opinion exactly where they want it. Like the girl, when we were going to, from Kuwait, when we were deciding to go into Iraq, and that girl comes out and says that the Iraqi soldiers came into the maternity ward of the hospital and started killing babies that were in incubators, right? Well, that girl was the daughter of the king in Kuwait, or whoever the leader was, whatever the title was. She was the daughter who was told to just go out there and say that. All bullshit. And it was put up by a PR firm that George H.W. used all the time. They know fear and confusion make people easier to control, so they whip up hysteria, then swoop in with a solution that just happens to fit their agenda. Amazing how that works, right? These guys are pros at making you believe you came to these conclusions all on your own. Whether it's hyping a foreign threat to funnel billions in tax dollars, vilifying a political opponent to throw him in jail, or pushing a mail order pandemic, exactly, the strategy is always the same: control the story, shape the message, and silence dissenting voices. So what did they do here? They controlled the story by having the media repeat the exact same thing the last idiot in media did. They shaped the message, right, by telling us that, oh, you could die if you don't get the vax. If you get the vaccine, you will not catch COVID, right? It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And then they silenced dissenting voices. They violated the First Amendment by getting, in a fascist manner, by getting social media platforms, including this one and others, to censor speech that said anything about COVID. I've got 2 stories tonight we're going to go over, and you're probably going to freak the hell out when you hear about it, what the vax did. And I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it or not. I hope the YouTube people grew up a little bit and they're going to let us talk about it. So he says, and if you dare to question the narrative, well, congrats. You're now a conspiracy theorist or an anti-American domestic terrorist. He's described in the last 4 years. Rinse and repeat. Honestly, it's manipulation in plain sight, and it's happening every day in this country. The government doesn't care about your well-being. They never did, really. They're not guiding you. They're hurting you. I keep telling people, what do you think those masks were all about? It was
compliance.
It was about making the American people obey. Exactly.
Compliance.
Exactly. You will obey. And that mask, when you saw somebody else with a mask on, because you didn't really see your own, when you saw somebody else, you were like, that's right, I have to comply. And if I don't, well, then I'm just a bad American. And that was the freaking message they sent. And it was stupid.
George Orwell in 1984?
Yeah.
A big sign that said obey?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it was. And the whole thing was a psyop, because, look, when they had that summit on Facebook, it started on Facebook, and it was a summit of doctors from around the world. And they were talking about the protocols they were using to treat their patients with COVID. All right. And the message that they were giving was, hey, we don't have a vaccine, but these other things that your government's, they're not working. Try this instead. That's where we got hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, the ideas for other things to use, right? And so Facebook did what they always do. They shut the damn feed down. They just shut it down. Why? It's misinformation. They're all licensed medical doctors, for God's sake.
Yeah,
they're talking about their patients. Yeah. So that was part of controlling the narrative and silencing any dissenters.
Yeah, and anything
we lived through that.
Anything that Big Pharma couldn't patent and or somehow make money off of, was put down.
And see, the beautiful thing is, if you guys, did you watch Charlie Kirk? He had his Turning Point thing. It's better than CPAC every year, I think so, because CPAC's a little boring for me.
I saw Charlie Kirk when he was talking to Trent Huger.
Okay, did you see Tucker though at the end?
No.
Tucker did one of the most amazing speeches, and he sounded like he was doing it off the cuff. I mean, I know he knew what he was going to talk about, but it sounded like off the cuff. One of the things that he said that like I really enjoyed was, he said, okay, so for so many years, he said, we had rich billionaire types who all looked down on us, and they told us that because they were rich billionaire types, that they knew how to run our lives better than we did. And for some stupid reason, for some unknown reason, we all went along with it. And went, yeah, you guys are pretty smart. Go ahead, do things. So he says, so what did we get out of that? Decades and decades of living like that. Well, we had never-ending wars, right? We had most of our freedoms taken away that we enjoy, like free speech, right? They want to take away your right to own firearms. They want to take away your Fourth Amendment right. All right. And that's what they want to do. We have, products we can't afford to buy because these rich billionaire elitists, they knew better than us, and they spent all kinds of money and caused inflation.
And don't
right?
you dare buy ivermectin.
Right. And they think that, right. And well, Merck went over to India and bought up like 2 plants just to get rid of it.
Well, you know what they also did? They went to the College of Pharmacy, and for a while, I don't know if every pharmacist was doing it, but a lot of pharmacies, even if your doctor wrote you a prescription for ivermectin,
Yep.
they wouldn't fill it.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's why I had to go to India. Well, I didn't go to India, but I bought mine from India.
Here,
Yeah.
Here, you know what? The interesting thing that I keep thinking this as you're reading this story, the first casualty of war is truth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
and this has been a war. It has been a war for our hearts and minds and souls. And it has been a war of media and propaganda and
you got to think, what's the end goal? I think their end goal is this Agenda 21, which became Agenda 30, which became the Great Reset, which I don't know what the hell they're calling it now, but probably still the Great Reset. But I think that whole thing is gone. I think Klaus Schwab, you will earn nothing and you will be happy, right?
Yeah.
Americans didn't really like. Hey, Sheila, how you doing, girlfriend?
Their agenda is clear. Their agenda is clear.
Oh yeah.
It is not subtle. It is not hidden. They want to keep us
Jimmy from Philly's in the house.
Afraid, disarmed, afraid, incapable, and dependent on the government.
Yes. But see,
that is their agenda.
Oh yeah. And if you ever saw Brave New World or read the book, right? That's what they want. They think that this is what the Great Reset is. It's Brave New World, right? They're trying to implement it.
What do you think the whole Daniel Penny prosecution was about?
Exactly. Well, that's what all those Soros. But you know what? I'm saying things. Well, let me do the first part. They want so that the rich, powerful elites who completely screwed up our lives for the last 4 decades, right? Because we listened to them, which will never happen again. By the way, that will never happen again because the people are now. That's what this article is about. People are now. Well, I'm not going to say woke. We're awakened, right?
Better awake than woke.
Yeah, but what they wanted to do was to make sure that their lives, they were living the lives of luxury, and all us smelly Walmart people, our entire life would be dedicated to making sure that they have that luxurious life. And that's what they wanted. They wanted Brazil, if you will. They wanted a filthy rich class that was very small and controlling, and then they wanted everybody else.
Yeah, we eat the bugs. They still get steak.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly correct. And these 15-minute city bullshit. So that's what they were trying to do. But this article's pointing out, guess what? People are too smart now to fall for that. Let me get back to that.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing about Daniel Penny, because they saw somebody who was capable and had the motivation and ability to help others, and they had to discourage that in a hurry. Any free will, any desire to take care of ourselves and our people around us.
And to expand on that, the Penny example, a lot of people might not remember who the McCluskeys were. Well, the McCluskeys was the couple in Missouri during the St. George Floyd riots, where the mob broke open the private gate. They were in a gated community, and they broke the locked gate open and came pouring into their property. And they came outside with rifles and a handgun
on their own property.
And the guy's a lawyer, right? I followed him on X, and he's got some really good stuff he has to say. But so it turns out that who was it? Kim Gardner, who was the equivalent to a district attorney. I forget the word they use for down there, but she charged them and no one that broke and entered onto their private. She charged them for having a gun, and so the message between Penny and that, right, and all the other cases we heard of, like Kim Fox, goes and drops all charges as soon as she gets into office in Chicago, right? She's another name that's not prosecutor, but she's the main prosecutor there, the DA. But she goes in and she drops like 90 cases on day one, just throws them out for violent criminals. I don't want to prosecute these, get out. But the message was this: it was the Soros prosecutors, right? George Soros was funding these prosecutors to not prosecute. They got them in every major city, right? So the point was they wanted you to think, well, guess what? You can no longer defend yourself in America. You can't defend yourself anymore, and we're going to make sure you don't. Yeah. Because you have to now rely on the police. And guess what? We're giving the police the same amount of shit we're going to give you in your Second Amendment. And that's what it was all about. And the people finally caught on to that. It took them long enough. What's that? Oh, the Decoding Obama. That was a great Dr. Phil Valentine. That was a great video. African-American guy, Dr. Phil Valentine, who just went through this whole expose of who Barack Obama really is. And he had like all kinds of like it sounded real information, and it was a very good video that he did. He did several, but the one video was 3.5 hours long, and he goes on about it. I think it's still out there. I think it's still on YouTube, as a matter of fact. And he explained
anyway
who he is.
To wrap up before people get bored and start leaving. Yes, the Daniel Penny case was exactly. They didn't care about Daniel Penny. They cared to make an example of him so everybody else would not do it. They want us afraid.
Oh yeah.
They want us disarmed, afraid, not only afraid, but afraid to act.
And they use the criminals as their shock troops.
Yeah.
That's what they do. All right. So let me go back. Honestly, it's manipulation in plain sight, and it's happening every day in this country. The government doesn't care about your well-being. They're not guiding you. They're hurting you. For those still on the fence and confused about what's going on, we've got a simple way for you to spot these new psyops and even trace them back 60 plus years. Sean Davis, editor of The Federalist, dropped a banger of a post exposing the sleazy, underhanded tricks our government has been pulling for decades. This is who my friend Mark Davis writes for. He writes for The Federalist. Ready to have your minds blown? I know what's going on with the drones, and I will share it with you. That's good because we got radioactive shit coming from the drones now, they're finding. But I'm also going to give you the secret to seeing through all the nonsense we've been peddled for 60 plus years. What I'm about to reveal to you is the Rosetta Stone for interpreting every major news event. I will give you the secret to unlocking the mystery. One simple assumption will reveal everything. Are you ready? The U.S. government was behind it and is lying to you to cover it up. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to assume, and you will be correct. Think I'm crazy? That it couldn't possibly be that simple? That it could never be that obvious? Let's try it out and see how it works. Who killed JFK? The U.S. government was behind it and is lying to you to cover it up. How did the cartels manage to get so many drugs into and so much cash out of the U.S.? The U.S. government was behind it and is lying to you to cover it up. Hey, this works pretty good. What do you think, Jade? I think it works pretty well.
I'm thinking pretty much everything that you have to get to a point to really wonder about. This is a good thought to have.
Yeah. Why were all those women and children at Waco burned to death? The U.S. government was behind it and is lying to you to cover it up. And I happen to know that is correct. The Clinton administration was behind all that. And
why did what's his name, that
David Koresh,
the airport director out in Arkansas, the
main airport.
Yeah, the Clinton airport out there, the airport director.
Yeah, it was the main airport. The cocaine airport for the Clintons. Yeah.
Yeah, they bashed in his door and shot him at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
The U.S. government was behind it, and now they're covering it up.
Well, the Waco, the reason why they went after David Koresh was to get the mind off of a story that was coming out by the American Spectator. The American Spectator pointed out it was called His Cheating Heart, and it was about Bill Clinton. When Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas, he pretty much was a mobster. Okay. And everybody that worked for him, all right, they were all on the take, all of them. And so when he started to run, when he thought about running for president, he went to all his cabinet members and he said, look, I'm running for president, which means that the world is going to descend on Arkansas. And they're going to ask you questions about the administration, about me. And that could lead us all into a lot of trouble. So if you keep your mouths shut, when I win, I will bring you at the federal level of whatever you're doing now. You will be at the federal level, which is more money, more prestige, better pension, all that. And they all did it. And he won. And he brought everybody up, except for 3 people he forgot about. There were 3 of his Arkansas state troopers. And those state troopers were his bodyguards, but they were really his pimp. They were his pimps. And they were the ones that would set up women so that he could bang them at hotels, motels, houses that he owned, whatever, wherever Hillary wasn't. Okay. And so they said, why didn't you bring us up to federal law enforcement? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll get to you. Yeah, it's okay. And so they waited over a year. So then they started making rumblings, all 3 of them, doing interviews saying, we got a lot we can say if we don't, if he doesn't, follow through with his promise to us. Like, what did we do wrong? We did everything they did, right? And for whatever reason, Clinton didn't bring him up. So next thing you know, you have this David Koresh thing where he's telling people they can't leave, right? Which was bullshit. He has all these guns. Why does he have all these guns? Well, the feds never went to the sheriff of the town, Waco, to ask him, because later on, after the whole burning thing, he said, yeah, he said he was an FFL. He sold guns for a living. That's what he did. He said he had a license to do it. He worked with us. He said, and every time there was a bill of lading that came in, he goes, and if he didn't fill out the paperwork and send it to us, he said, I would have to, he goes, sometimes that happens. You just forget you're running a business, right? And he said, he goes, I would go out to the compound and he would go, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Come on out. Go into his office. He'd pull it out of the drawer. He'd sign it, give it to me right away. We'd have a cup of coffee, talk and laugh, and I'd leave. Because the guy was not a nut, none of that. But here's what happened. Now, do you remember when the shit hit the fan and ABC News had the best video coverage of it? And there was a scene, try to think back to those days. There was a scene where on the roof, there were 3 ATF agents. They had ATF on their jackets, their official government jackets, where we can't get one, but they can. So there's no store. Anyway, so there was a scene where they were on a roof and then there was a window on the roof and it was an A-frame roof above that. And all of a sudden you saw all 3 of these 8, there were 4 of them. The 3 front ones went through that window. No sooner was the 3rd one through there that the 4th one pulled the pin on a grenade and threw it in the window and ducked, and boom, essentially killing all 3. Yeah. All right. Now there was an episode, ready? There was an episode of Law and Order one time where these women were being raped by a guy that covered up and all that, and they had no idea. What happens is that the police, they go and they try to find what's the commonality. And these women, they all lived in different boroughs, right? They didn't live in any area. They weren't the same race. They had nothing in common, educationally, nothing. The only thing they found out, what they had in common was that they all went to the same dentist. And it was the dentist, okay? So in this case, it's the same thing. It's like, so all of a sudden, because if you're an ATF agent, you can't show up at a scene like that and go, all right, I think I'll take that window. No, you get assigned an entry point of how you go in. You get assigned anything you're about to do. You get assigned to do that, and you got to do that, okay? So what are the odds? What are the odds that these 3 men were state troopers that were mentioned in the article, okay, about his cheating heart, that they were going to start complaining and telling all of what the new elected president did, and they all suddenly get bumped up to the ATF? Isn't that cool? And then they all suddenly got handed the detail to go to the Davidian branch compound. And they, oh my God, son of a bitch, who would believe it? They all had the luck of getting that window to go through. ABC had no idea what they were looking at.
It's an amazing coinky dinky.
Yeah. That was in Michael Kellett's book, and it was called The Murder of Vince Foster, but he talked about a lot more than the murder of Vince Foster.
Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. That whole Branch Davidian raid, it wasn't to arrest David Koresh.
No, not at all. It was
my understanding is that he went jogging every morning. He went into town. They could have just picked him up on the road.
Oh yeah.
He was not.
It was to start. Look, it's the same reason why Ruby Ridge happened. It was the same reason why a lot of things happened. It was to get the press, Monica Lewinsky, that whole thing, right? He bombed to get the Monica Lewinsky blowjob in the Oval Office thing off the presses, off the front pages. He bombed janitors in empty factories in the middle of the night in Iraq. He literally did that just so the press wouldn't report on it right away. He wanted to hold it off to a Friday, which is where stories go to die, right? That's what he wanted to do, and he did it. So the same thing. They did the same thing. I mean, think about the Oklahoma City bombing building that happened. That was the first time terrorists actually blew up a building, a federal building, right? And the whole story, I told it before, but he covered parts of that up as well, because he didn't want to be known as the first president to have Muslim Arab terrorists blow up a building. And in that building, according to Jana Davis, who was an award-winning investigative journalist, she wrote the book called The Third Terrorist. Go look it up in Amazon. She pointed out that the people that blew up the building, all right, they worked for Saddam Hussein, and that Terry Nichols, was that his name? Terry Nichols, and who was the other guy? It was Terry Nichols and oh shit, I forget the other guy's name. You guys,
I wouldn't even remember Terry Nichols until you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, it was Terry Nichols and Iraqi janitors, bigot. That's so funny. But what happened was she has security footage in her. She had photos in her book of security footage showing where McVeigh, that was his name, McVeigh and Nichols, and she had the two of them meeting with Republican Guard members up in Connecticut, in outside a motel in the parking lot. Security from the parking lot cameras, there they are, and she named who they were. And as a matter of fact, there was one guy who was one of the Republican Guard guys who liked Americans, stayed here, right? And so he bought a house up in Connecticut, and she mentions him in the book and saying that he lives in Connecticut and mentioned his name. Well, he sued her, right, for doing that. He sued her. He said, hey, you can't mention that. And so at the end of the trial, the judge said, there was no jury. It was a judge. I think they waived it. And the judge said, well, it seems that Miss Davis here has proven that not only was she right in what she wrote, but you just lied to the court. So, and he called like the bailiffs over to bring him into another room to start questioning about that, because she proved, yeah, you were the bastard, one of the people that was involved in blowing up the Murrah building. Hey, what's up, Ludwig? Good to see you, man. Yeah, so I've digressed an awful lot here. In other words, we don't even need to finish that. In other words, the government's behind everything, and they're going to bullshit you about it.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of digression today.
I know. Well, it's my time. Here we go. This one's going to piss us East Coasters off, but there we go. All right, so high levels of radiation detected across the East Coast after the mysterious drone sightings. Get out of here. So, ready? Radiation levels have dramatically increased in New York City after the mysterious drone. What about New Jersey? Nobody cares about New Jersey. New Jersey.
Why would you care about New Jersey?
Huh?
Why would anybody care about New Jersey?
I know, but they were the ones that had most of the drones. Radiation levels have dramatically increased. And anybody from New Jersey here, we're kidding. We're sorry. Radiation levels have dramatically increased.
We're sorry.
Yeah, in New York City after the mysterious drone sightings were discovered hovering around the East Coast in recent weeks. The new revelations result in officials warning Americans to prepare for the worst. According to, and we could just, the government was behind it, and they're lying to you to cover it up. There you go. It works. See how that works? According to GQ Electronics Geiger Counter World Map, high emissions levels were detected near the Bronx and the Upper West Side of New York City. The radiation reading scale measured 1048 counts per minute CPM, or the number of particles detected. This exceeds the average number of particles detected by the 200 counts per minute safety threshold. I didn't even know about that threshold. In comparison, the average person is usually exposed to background radiation that measures about 60 CPM. author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang, told Forbes that the drones could be associated with the area's high radiation levels. There have been, quote, there have been reports of spikes in radiation in the New York metropolitan area, Chang said. 2 of them, one on each side of the Hudson. That leads to the conclusion that maybe they're looking for an implanted nuclear weapon. That's exactly correct, because I heard stories that said that when Ukraine, all right, there was a treaty. I think it was 2012. I think, don't hold me to that, but I think it was 2012. There was a treaty. It could have been in I don't know when, but there was a treaty that was done between the United States on the benefit of Ukraine. It was United States, the UK, I think Hungary, and some other country that you would go, wait a minute, why the hell were they involved? But what it was just to say that if Russia was to attack Ukraine, that the members of this treaty would help Ukraine. Okay, and that's why a lot of people, when Putin invaded Ukraine under another Democrat's watch, they said, well, why aren't we helping them? I thought we had a treaty. And Biden said, no, it doesn't say we're supposed to go to war there. It says that we're supposed to support them. We'll support them. And so he has, to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. But what happened was Russia didn't sign the treaty until they said, give us our nukes back. We put shitloads of nukes inside Ukraine. We want them back. We don't want them having nukes that they could fire at us. And so they said, okay. And so they got them all back except for 2. And now they believe those 2 nukes are in the United States, and they believe that the drones were desperately trying to find them. And that's why they came out. So who the hell?
I heard that story.
I think I told you that story. Probably where you heard it.
Well, I don't know if I heard it from you first. That's very possible.
Yeah.
But I did hear something about that. And of course, the alternative explanation is these things are running around with some sort of radiation in them. Because I also read something from an engineer that said the size and shape of these things are not consistent with what you would normally see with radiation detecting drones. But who knows? Because you know what? The government is responsible and they're lying to you.
Exactly. So he said, when you talk about radiation, clearly this could be one of the things that the drones are doing, Chang continued. And that would explain why they're over residential areas, because the device could be planted in one of those places. So I guess what he's saying is that they were bringing radiation in to block any radiation. It could be, he was saying it could be China that's doing it through Iran. We know Iran bought the drones from them. They had one of their motherships that left their ports, and they were sitting off the Atlantic coast, off the East Coast, right? When these things came in every night. And so he's basically saying, it sounds like, that they could have been flying them with the little bits of nuclear material on them so that it wipes out any chance that the Americans are trying to find the nuke. Well, that's not good. All right. He criticized outgoing President Joe Biden for refusing to address the recent drone sightings and failing to give Americans proper briefings on the situation. From what I heard, Joe can't even talk right now. He's progressed so badly, he can't say words anymore without serious drugs.
I guess he has trouble putting a sentence together for sure.
Yes. But now I'm hearing he can't even talk. I don't know if it's true. I listen to talk radio and that, but they're saying, yeah, he can't even talk now. So Chang said it's time for the president of the United States to actually address the American people and tell us what the federal government knows. That's not going to happen. So that's a pipe dream. The country would not be prepared in the event of a political potential. I can't read tonight. Dirty bomb being detonated on U.S. ground, he explained. That's what I fear, that they're gonna have a dirty bomb out of the nuclear materials that they say they believe both of them are here. Frank said
I've heard that there's a lot more than 2 nukes and a lot more nuclear material that's gone missing after the fall of the Iron Curtain. There's a lot more than that. And there's a couple of comments about green goo and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that are pretty cool.
I was never into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I do like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comments.
Yeah, I never got into that. But anyway. So that's that. So now let me close these. Yeah, the Iowa Supreme Court. Holy crap. I'll just go over this real fast just to get it out of the way. But like I said earlier, in case you guys are just getting here, Iowa has, I believe, a supermajority of Republicans. They own both legislatures. They own the executive branch. The only thing they don't own is the Supreme Court. The libnuts still got that. And so the libnuts just got on the court, got rid of the Fourth Amendment in the state, which they can't do, but they did. One of the defining features of America in the last 60 years is really horrible decisions by judges. I know. And, Clarence Thomas came out a couple years ago and he gave a speech and he said, the federal judges have to stop doing what they're doing, which is they use the power of the bench to implement policies that can't be done legislatively. And he wasn't talking about the rulings. Like, for example, well, he was talking about the rulings, but not by the Dems. Like, Jay, they don't even have to discuss it. They're like a symbiote, all the libnuts, like in every branch, every division, every job they do, they don't even have to discuss. So how do I do this? What do you want me to do? They know what to do.
Hive mind.
Yeah. So the hive. Thank you. The liberal hive mind, which is a great channel.
I love them.
I know I love them too. But stay here, guys. Go to them later. All right. So
later. Go check in with them later.
Yeah. So they don't even have to talk. So when about it, when Trump did that, the travel ban, that judge right away, it's racist. It's going to ban it. Well, Thomas pointed out that they know that there's not going to be repercussions for them because the judge had no right whatsoever to block the travel ban, and it didn't say the word Muslim at all in it. And the judge knew because it was all over. It was reported everywhere that the 6 countries that Trump picked were given to him by the Obama administration as being the countries that they believed, that their DOJ believed, would be the roughest ones that would have ISIS insurgents embed themselves with the refugees coming into the country. Right? So Trump was just doing what the Obama administration laid up for him. And so this judge comes along and goes, no, you can't do it. It's racist. Well, okay. Even if it were, which it wasn't, because the top Muslim countries in the world were not on the list. If he was racist against Muslims, he would have done it. Obama had a racist Muslim list. Nobody said anything about that. He stopped Iran and he stopped travel from Iran to and from, and he literally had the word Muslim in the order. Nobody said a word about that. But so Trump, the judge came out right away and did that. And these judges, they have no repercussions. So what Thomas was trying to say was there needs to be repercussions when they abuse their power that way. So at the Supreme Court level, we've repeatedly witnessed 9 unelected autocrats abandon the Constitution and traditional principles of judicial construction to remake society according to their crazed leftist vision. State court judges don't have quite the same reach, thank goodness, but they can certainly wreak havoc. Maybe make this bigger for you. Look at the judicial war against Trump in New York City, D.C., and Georgia to understand that. Exactly. Most recently, judges in the Iowa Supreme Court seemingly have written the Fourth Amendment right out of the Constitution. That's lovely. One of the most hated British acts in colonial America, to our British friends here, was the general warrant or writ of assistance. I'm sure you guys didn't like that either. A customs officer armed with such a warrant or writ could enter any home or business at any time and engage in a generalized and complete search for smuggled goods. He did not need to show that the property owner or occupier was suspected of a specific crime or that there was good reason to believe that the smuggled goods were in the property searched. It was a pure open-ended fishing expedition. Knock, knock. The founders' hatred for that was what gave us the Fourth Amendment. We all know what it says. In a free country where the government is the servant of the people, insert joke here, and not its master, it does not have the right to waltz into people's property just because. But haven't we seen them do that? I mean, didn't they come up with bogus? Look, they raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago. They went after.
Don't you remember that that video that came out of Kamala when she was in state politics, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm all for the Second Amendment, but if you've got a gun, you have to expect that."
We're
And I
going to come in.
paraphrase, you have to expect that we're
Yeah.
going to come in and we're going to make sure that you're storing it properly.
Right. I mean, what a joke. Even when it carries out its legitimate responsibility to protect all citizens against criminal conduct, the government itself must act in a lawful manner. We haven't seen that since Bob Mueller. Sorry. Maybe before that, but we haven't seen that shit. Bob Mueller was like, he was the destruction of the FBI at the beginning of it, the genesis, I think. Apparently, that concept sneaked past the Supreme Court in Iowa. According to the Institute for Justice, an organization that exists to limit government abuses of power, Orange County, Iowa has a law mandating rental inspections without any cause or notice. Orange County's rental inspection law permits government officials to obtain an administrative warrant, there you go, to enter and search any rental. We've come full circle, guys. To enter and search any rental property in the city when the tenant refuses entry. Unlike a traditional warrant, which requires probable cause that a violation has occurred, administrative warrants require no proof that any violations or wrongdoing have occurred. The state should take this to the Supreme Court. They should ask for that special writ where they can bypass, go straight to the Supreme Court and say, look what these a-holes in our state are doing. And the Supreme Court will throw it out. I don't see any other way. He writes, I'm sure if you were to investigate why such a law exists, there'd be some excellent reason, whether unethical landlords, criminal rich communities, or something else that endangers the city's safety and good order. Nevertheless, good reasons do not justify violating people's explicit constitutional privacy rights. That is correct, because they always pick, like, if they don't want you to have your rights, they won't pick on you right away because you have too many in number. The people are too many in number, and they will bitch. They'll go after something. They'll make an example of something else, and then gradually more and more people will be included into what we accepted. It's called incrementalism. In its press release, the Institution for Justice says that the Iowa Supreme Court never even bothered to consider either the state or federal constitutions. In today's opinion, which did not address the underlying constitutional argument, the Iowa Supreme Court, a bunch of lefties, wrote that because there are situations where the city's inspection requirement can operate constitutionally, the citizen's facial challenge fails. Yeah, okay. As an example of the program, so in other words, well, if they could do it in some circumstances, then I guess you don't have an argument. As an example of the program operating in a constitutional manner, the court pointed out that the law does not require the inspections to be conducted by a government official. Are you kidding me? Yeah, and Ray Epps wasn't involved with the FBI at all, speculating that the government can constitutionally force someone to open their doors for inspection by a certified third-party inspector. Oh, God. Today's ruling is incredibly disappointing and threatens the privacy rights of all Iowans. And you know what, guys? That's going to go to every other. It's going to go everywhere. Once it's in one state, the other evil pricks that are Democrats on the court will go, yeah, we'll do that too. Great.
Yeah, I mean, California, Gavin Newsom is thinking,
it's good to be
crap, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, it's good to be the king, right? One of the things that the Bible makes very clear is that being a judge, it's in Judges, calls for wisdom, a principle as true now as it was at the time of the Exodus. Another thing that's clear is that when it comes to America's judges, wisdom is in very short supply. It's true. I hope that the plaintiffs in this case can petition the United States Supreme Court and that the Supremes get it right, and you know they will. This court. I never thought, Jade, when Roberts became the Chief Justice of the United States, I never thought that I would say this about him, but his court will go down in history as a very good court because
I think so.
Because what they start once and you can thank again Donaldus Maximus, Donald Trump. You can thank him because he's the one that put the 3 additional conservatives on the court. And that's when the court started shifting and saying, you know what, this Dobbs case, we can actually get rid of that case known as Roe v. Wade that 49 years ago was a horrific ruling where the court lied. This very same body lied, saying that there was a right.
They just took hallucinogens.
Yeah, there you go. So the and a lot of people still don't understand. We're going to codify it. No, you're not. You're not, because the 73 court lied to you. They lied. Sorry, they lied. And then you had the New York, the gun law that they had for like 150. It's 150 years old. It doesn't mean it was right anymore.
The Sullivan law.
Yeah. They threw that out because it was unconstitutional. And then the other one, Chevron, the Chevron case.
Oh, Chevron's the best thing ever.
Yeah, that was the best thing ever. Where they said, you know what, bureaucrats don't get to create laws with penalties and fines. That's Congress's job.
Yeah, you're talking about the Bruin decision.
Yeah,
and the
yep, exactly, Lou.
Yeah, and the only thing, the judge had to say that Trump's proposed travel restrictions were racist. He had to say that. Well, of course, because how else would they then have been able to blame Trump for not doing anything
right
at the beginning of COVID?
Right. And he did. He actually did. But
because
he's Trump, he doesn't get credit for anything.
No, guy goes to do something, you stop him, and then you blame him for not doing something.
Right. So we're going to go on to the next one, which is not the bee is always great. Anybody doesn't know what Not the Bee is? Not the Bee is by the same guys as the Babylon Bee, except Not the Bee does real stories, but they're weird. So this is President. What's that,
Rich,
Jade?
I got to be out of here in like 5-10 minutes, just so you know.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'll do this one fast. President Biden has spent 570. I'm still going to be around, guys, so don't go anywhere. President Biden has spent 570 days, about 40% of his presidency, on vacation. Over a year of vacation. What? Unbelievable. I can't think of a cushier position than being the Democratic president of the United States. Can you? You get to sit back, relax, let Antony Blinken, Ron Klain, and the White House staff make all the important decisions. And you just show up for major events. Yeah, cut a ribbon here, cut a ribbon there. Holy crap. 570 days, 40% of his presidency. Bro, I know literal beach bums who spend less time at the beach. True. 52 years. Dude never works overtime, rarely works a full-time schedule, and spends more time on the beach than in the Oval Office. Some context here. Trump took 380 days off during his first term. Obama took 328 in 2 terms. George W. Bush, another 2 terms. But see, the last 3, you got to include Obama on this as well. Trump, Obama, and W. What they did is a lot of times when they took vacations, it was to throw the media off. Because they like Bush he'd go to his house back in Texas, and Obama would he'd either go to Hawaii or wherever the hell he lives, Chicago, whatever, and Trump Mar-a-Lago. And what they would do is they would actually work on things that they didn't want the world to know about right away because they were just starting these projects, and they would work. They would actually work on their days off. Joe Biden laid around on the beach doing nothing.
kind of like the Bush Ranch.
Yeah, exactly.
How many world leaders have seen the Bush Ranch?
Exactly. And that's what he would do instead of taking them to Camp David, because, the president's schedule's out there every single day, and the press looks at it and goes, okay, so you get some guys over here, you go over here for that. And so they would say, oh, Camp David, who's he bringing in? Right. Well, they wouldn't go there for certain things. They wanted to talk in private, which the president of the United States has the right to do. Sorry, guys, he does. And that's what they would do. But Biden, no. Biden couldn't form 2 coherent sentences all 4 years. And we're supposed to believe he would do that? No. Trump likes to golf at his own resorts, so he's just as bad as Biden, right? Wrong.
No, because he plays around the golf and then he goes to work.
Yeah, exactly. Or, a lot of great business deals and political deals are made out on the golf course.
And he may be working as he's playing golf. Yes.
Exactly.
And was it the Washington Post just put something out this week or last that people are coming out now and saying, oh, yeah, we know from day one, Joe Biden was completely incoherent.
So in other words, he lied to us all that time, right?
The last time that people can remember that he was coherent was the debate with Trump, not this one for 2024, but the 2020 debate for Trump. That's the last time people can think that he was actually coherent.
Oh, yeah.
The man's gone.
Oh, right now you say he's really gone.
Now he's apparently.
Yeah, now he's complete. They say that over the last like 6 months, He's deteriorated so bad that without meds, he can't even hold a conversation. He can't say a word. He can't say.
When's the last time anybody's seen him?
I know.
I keep thinking Trump isn't going to be 47. For the last, I mean, I think we're there now, but I thought for some time now he's not going to be number 47. He's going to be 48. I figured, a couple of months ago he was going downhill. I figured they're going to shelve that son of a bitch and put Kamala in there for 2 months.
That's what they're talking about too, so that she could pardon him and they can get another first black female, president, and then all the African Americans would come out and go, she's not black. I loved that because it showed that they were right on point. They knew what the talking points were, but they also knew what the reality was.
Yeah.
And they came over. I love it. They're welcome. Now it's the Republicans or the conservatives, the MAGA people, that have to convince them to stay, that this is what you should belong to. Because on this side, your wallet's going to get thicker. The border's going to get lonely, and your neighborhoods are going to get a little better. So, they still have to deal, in many of those neighborhoods and communities, still have to deal with the asshole progressive Democrats that run their cities. But at least from the federal perspective, things will be a lot better.
And, talking about neighborhoods, the New York Post, I think it was just yesterday, came out with an article that I guess the gangs in Chicago are getting very upset at the illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Because
they've been.
And they interviewed a bunch of mostly the OGs, like the retired gang members who reformed, and they interviewed a bunch of them. They interviewed a couple of the current gang members, the ones that aren't showing their face. And then they interviewed the local pastor. And the upshot of it was, this is a real problem. These people are coming in and getting all kinds of support, and we're not getting it. Our communities are not getting it. My aunt can't meet the rent, and these people are getting free cars and free apartments.
Right.
And the bottom line is exactly, Uncle Bobby, that is exactly what the bottom line, because what they were saying is, if the shit keeps up, Chicago is going to burn. Chicago is going to burn.
Right.
And there's no amount of National Guard that is going to stop it.
I always said
it's very close now, and all it's going to take is a bit of a spark, and there's going to be a war.
They're waiting for Trump. They're holding off that decision, because what the biggest mistake that the Democrats made was sending those thousands upon thousands of illegal migrants into blue sanctuary cities, because they ate up all the resources that those people paid taxes for. They ate them all up, and they can't stand seeing.
But what's interesting is these people are standing up now, and they're saying things in a way that they haven't said before, because all of a sudden they're saying, and I'm an American.
Right.
And they haven't been thinking that way.
They haven't been thinking that. And you know why? Because their politicians are for shit out there.
Yeah.
That's why.
So, but all of a sudden you've got this groundswell of gangsters, gang members, who really don't give two flying fanny atoms about cops or anything else.
Yeah.
But if this starts, there's going to be, it'll be a war, because the Venezuelans are well armed, but so are the Chicago gangs.
Well, there was a story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say and from the conversations and the interviews, my impression is that it's going to take one small spark, and there's going to be a literal firefights in the streets. Make America great again.
Great again. It's an Italian thing.
And that will be something. I mean, it's my goodness. But
well, they just found out that the Venezuelan government intentionally trained them and sent them here.
Oh yeah,
no, Tren de Aragua. I did a video on it. During the week.
Yeah, they, um, they, um, they, 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 they're most of them gangsters, and
They're here to sow chaos.
And a lot of them have military training.
Yeah, they're here to
At least
sow
that's the
chaos
rumors.
in the United
Yeah.
States. I mean, think about the one guy. I want to find out if the guy that set the girl on fire in the New York subway, if he was Trinidad-Agua. I want to find out.
Guatemalan. He was Guatemalan.
Oh, is he? All right.
He was an illegal Guatemalan that had already been deported.
Yeah, he was deported
once.
already in 2018, and he came back over Joe's open border.
Yeah, but I think that it will be very interesting because
you got a dinner thing, right?
What's that?
You got a dinner thing, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the time. I'm headed out like right now, but it'll be very interesting. Because if you tell the Chicago cops, if you tell the Chicago cops to go and clean Trinidad-Agua out of these buildings, they're not going to be able to do it. But you know what? Right. You know what? The gangs in Chicago, they know those streets.
Oh, yeah.
They know those streets. And you know what? They're not going to go up and politely knock on the door.
Trump would send federal agents down there and clear it out in a week.
Got to be careful. You can't send. You can't use the army. Can't use the army on our own soil.
No, I said federal agents.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You can send federal agents down there, like he did several times, to protect federal buildings during the St. George Floyd riots.
And I thought I would sign in to, to hang out with Rich and you guys for a little bit.
Yeah.
But we have dinner reservations, and we're gonna go.
Eating in Tucson.
And we're in Tucson. We're gonna go for dinner. It's a very nice dinner at an extremely expensive restaurant. And a friend of ours from Florida is with us. And after that, we are going to go enjoy a jazz show.
All right, cool.
Apparently it's Oscar Peterson, which here's a little fact that you didn't need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Oscar Peterson grew up in the same neighborhood as my father.
Oh, wow.
My father knew him, and Oscar Peterson was a few years older than my father. But my dad remembered that when a lot of the guys were up playing baseball, Oscar Peterson was in playing piano. And it showed. He's wonderful, boys.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a happy holiday. Thank you, Uncle Bobby. Yeah, I think we're fine.
You guys are flu-bound.
We've got the large industrial strength bottle of Tamiflu now.
So they're prepared to go out and make all the waiters and waitresses sick.
Oh, bite my ass! bite my round pink ass.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm telling you. Okay.
Yikes.
All right, guys. So good night. Have a good holiday.
All right.
Have a happy new year.
Yep. We will see you next Friday, I guess. You still going to be there?
Next Friday, and I'll be back home.
All right, cool. See you then. Thanks, Jade.
All right.
All right. Be good. All right. Cowabunga, dude. Let me do a couple more stories and I'll bring people in. This one's great. Oh, you guys will like this one. California. So here we go. California shoplifting suspect shocked to learn that stealing is now a felony. Bitch, new law. California Police Department released video Sunday of a shoplifting suspect acting surprised when she learned low total theft is once again a felony charge in the Golden State. Yeah, because all these companies, all these stores, retail stores started pulling out because the stupidity of not Bobbity, everyone else in the fucking state would have said anything below 950 is a misdemeanor and you don't go to prison for a misdemeanor. The Seal Beach Police Department posted a video on Instagram showing a group of individuals allegedly stealing $648 worth of items from an Ulta Beauty store. The group went on to steal an additional $237 in merchandise from Kohl's, police say. Police dash and body cams then show officers apprehending the suspects and placing them in custody. Two of the suspects are heard talking in the back of the police vehicle. During the conversation, one suspect breaks some unsettling news on the other. It's a felony, one said. Bitch, new laws. I guess it's bitch. I don't know what. I'd like to buy a vowel. The other responds, stealing is a felony, and this is Orange County. They don't, bitch, they don't play. The suspect is referencing Proposition 36, the California ballot initiative that undid parts of the Kamala Harris's 2014 measure relaxing punishments for certain crimes, including retail theft. Proposition 36 passed this year with 68.4%, I bet, of the vote and went into effect Wednesday morning because people want to be able to go back to stores again and find shit in there that they want to buy. Many businesses, from big box stores to local shops, blamed the 2014 reforms for a noticeable increase in retail theft. The outrage prompted some Democratic lawmakers, including San Francisco Mayor London Breed, a brain-dead to sound the alarm earlier this year. Our goal is not to keep people locked up. Yeah, right. Okay, but when there are no real consequences for crimes that are committed in this city, that's a real problem. It took you how many years to figure that out? 10 years? California Republicans, and Kamala wants to run for governor. She's the one that caused that problem, and she wants to run for governor now. And you know what? The stupid lib nuts out there will elect her. California Republicans were highly critical of the reforms after they passed in 2014. However, Gavin Newsom remained insistent the reforms were not the fundamental issue leading major retailers to shutter stores in the state, even though those major retailers said that that was the fundamental issue. The passage of Proposition 36 comes as Californians resoundingly reject soft-on-crime politicians. It's about time. Again, excluding Bobbity here. Los Angeles voters turned their backs on progressive district attorney Gascon, in favor of Nathan Hochman, the independent, a moderate who promised to aggressively prosecute wrongdoers in the city. The voters of LA County rejected extreme pro-criminal policies. I rejected those decarceration policies. I also rejected the mass incarceration policies, and I came down in the middle. It's in the middle. Yeah, so in other words, the people in California finally had enough. Let's see. I voted against increasing the shoplifting penalty the first time and had to vote for lowering the shoplifting penalty below $9.50. Oh, wow. This state is not real. It's another planet, a fucking moron. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. And I know a lot of people are like stuck there. They really are. A lot of people are stuck there. Let me put this out. Okay. It is the free-for-all section. Anybody want to come in? Come in. I just put the link out. It'll be there in a sec. There it is. Invite code. Yeah, just come on in. We'll do stories and we'll just yuck it up. Let me see. I gotta check this out. This one just bites me in the nads. Here we go. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but Slay puts out top study exposes 5.7-fold death surge in vaccinated children. So in other words, kids that are vaccinated have a 5.7-fold death rate now, thanks to the vax. Okay. There's a companion story that is, let's see, from Slay. Study confirms COVID vaccines caused death surge in nursing homes. So Democrats caused death surges in nursing homes by putting COVID patients in there. And then the government did with these COVID vaccines in nursing homes to save them from the Democrats who put COVID patients who were killing people in nursing homes. And that's all I can say for fear of getting in trouble from our lords and masters. But there you go. So people, jab surge. Exactly. Let me see. If I leave, it's just AJ in California. He can't have that. Yeah. AJ. Oh, yeah. So let me see. Commander, if you're around, Chris, come on in. Lou, come in if you want. You guys can, because I'm going to go over these stories anyway. Has the tide turned on wokeness? Here we go. Yeah, we'll do that one. Has the tide really turned on wokeness? Restoring America, from the Examiner, Washington Examiner. Since President-elect, if you come in, I can't see you right now, so give it a minute. Since President-elect Donald Trump's decisive victory over Vice President Kamala Harris in November, Republicans have been riding high. What was predicted by pundits on both sides of the aisle to be a nail-biter of an election, with results that may not be certified for weeks or longer, that was the fear-mongering, because the government was behind it and they were lying to cover it up, became the modern version of a blowout. No, Trump didn't put a Reagan versus Mondale beating on his political foes, But in a country so polarized along party lines, with a clean sweep of all 7 battleground states and a victory in the national popular vote by 2.3 million, the former president had as good a showing as any Republican could have wanted. Correct. Congressional Republicans lagged behind Trump, but not by much. The GOP retained the House of Representatives, albeit with a historically tiny majority, and regained the Senate on the back of victories over longtime Democrat red state stalwart Senators Sherrod Brown and John Tester, as well as Joe Manchin. He retired. Regional political realignments happen all the time. For instance, West Virginia was once a reliable Democratic state, at least regarding presidential elections. And I think it was it because Obama shut down their largest coal mine and put like 1,100 families out of work. Republicans won the state only once from 1972 to 2000. The lone GOP victory being the aforementioned 1984 election of President Ronald Reagan, Walter Mondale, which saw the incumbent Reagan win 49 states. I heard that that his people came up to him and said, "Mr. President, you could also win Minnesota if you just go there." And Ronnie turned around and he goes, "That's all right. Let him have one." You got to love that if it was true. Democrats were surprised when Vice President Al Gore lost West Virginia, to George W. Bush in 2000, but their setback was more like a seismic shift in the mountain state. No Democrat has come close in the 2 decades since, and Trump bested Harris in the state by nearly 42 points. Holy crap. Interestingly, in all the discussions surrounding the all-important battleground states leading up to the general election this year, 2 longtime bellwethers were left off the list, Ohio and Florida. Ohio voted for the winning presidential race in every election from 64 to 2000, or 2020, I'm sorry, when Trump won the state in a losing effort to then candidate Joe Biden. Former Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush won the Buckeye state by the skin of their teeth, and Trump has now won the state by 8, and nearly 12 points in 3 consecutive elections. Where do they get to the point? The left outkicked its coverage on the transgender issue, especially regarding the transitioning of children, and Democrats and their allies are finally beginning to read the writing on the wall. We don't like that shit. The corporate press are starting to run pieces questioning the efficacy of sterilizing or otherwise permanently altering minors, and this comes almost after most European countries, including the UK, under the leadership of the most left-wing government in recent British history, have banned puberty blockers and other forms of gender transition for children. Disney, which has long been at the forefront of the push for mainline transgender propaganda into children's content, recently backed off of the issue. Yeah, because they got smacked. That has been central to the left's ideology in recent years. The media giant made the wise decision to remove a storyline that included transgender propaganda from its upcoming series, Win or Lose. Quote, when it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. Now, why did it take all this time for these a-holes to realize that? Why? Why did they then call it the Don't Say Gay bill when the Florida law never mentioned the word gay and said you can't say it? I mean, Disney, they got everything that they deserved. Right-wingers, for good reason, trust institutions such as Disney and the New York Times about as far as they can throw them. As a man of average strength, I can't throw Mickey Mouse very far, assuming, of course, that there is an adult human being inside the costume. Okay. But considering that we are witnessing, where the hell did I just go? When it comes to anime, but considering that we are witnessing an about face on an issue we're winning, guys, as important to the Democrats as transgender rights, it is safe to assume that wealthy and influential executives who are themselves surely members of the political left are realizing that they bet on the wrong pronouns. Exactly. Because in the end, when you're a corporation, you got to make your stockholders happy. And when the money goes down, you're not making your stockholders happy. And so we knew that all this bullshit was going to end, but why did they make us go through all this crap? And how many children were harmed by all this? I mean, think about it. How many kids were harmed by all this transgender nonsense that the media made popular. It would have never caught on if the media didn't do it. As of October 7, 2023, after the attack on the Israeli, we won't get into that. Most of the problems that Democrats are having when attempting to relate to everyday people stem from the fact that the party is so beholden to hard left special interest groups that it can no longer see how far outside the realm of normal it has become to large swaths of the general public. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance illustrated this recently when he reposted on X to a New York Times Magazine reader who submitted the question to the magazine's ethicist columnist. The inquiry said, "My neighbor won't stop praying for me. What should I do?" Accept it in good cheer, I would say. The unidentified questioner went on to complain to the ethicist about an elderly neighbor who routinely commits the grave sin of being a good neighbor. "What should you do?" Vance replied. "Accept it as a sweet gesture and stop being a weirdo." Or consider that the woman praying for her neighbors has it more figured out than the person whining to the paper. In other words, people are finally coming around. They're finally getting the balls to stand up and say, "No, you guys are morons. You guys are crazy. You guys are authoritarian." Everything that the left is. Why are we possibly witnessing a political and cultural shift? I think it's going to be seismic, but seismic shifts move very slowly, guys. So it's going to happen. But while many elected Democrats and the people who staff large media institutions likely relate to the person complaining about his or her neighbor's prayer habits, a vast majority can relate to the elderly neighbor or can at least admit that Vance makes a good point. It turns out that Americans like normal, and they viewed Republicans and Trump as a return to normalcy. Yes, because we were pretty freaking crazy there for 4 years. Surveys show that 66% of Americans identify as Christians. Used to be 78, like just a few short years ago. 81% believe in God. In 2022, Gallup found that 37% of Americans identify as moderate, 36 as conservative, and 25 as liberal. What about the woke? 1%. Despite the best efforts of the lapdog press to normalize Democratic policy proposals, people correctly decided Trump and the Republicans were the more moderate option at the ballot box. Who knows what the next few years or even months will bring? Things are happening fast. I have been extremely wrong in the past, and Lord knows I'll get a few things wrong from here. But if I were a betting man, I'd put money down that, yes, the tide has turned. Democrats are in for a rough ride, and they couldn't be more deserving of the political and cultural backlash headed their way. And I say that, guys, I agree with that, because I think now that we are destroying the legacy media, right? We're getting rid of the legacy media. Think about it. Like we said, CNN is firing their top talent, right? MSNBC just told, they cut $5 million a year off of Richard Maddow. They told the race lady, Joy Reid, at MSNBC that she has to take a half pay cut. Imagine your boss coming in and saying, "Look, if you want to keep doing your job, you got to take half the pay." And she's going to have to accept it, because what other network would accept her? There might be networks out there, there certainly are, that accept her garbage. But, I mean, think about it. She's toxic. She is a toxic, racist female on a cable news channel. I can't believe she still had her job as long as she did. Yeah, exactly, Lou. We are the media now. People on X, if you go on X and you start reporting news, guess what? You are the media now. Yeah, even if you post someone else's news, like RPW Media, you can post it all over there. If you post someone else's news, you are the media now. And that's what the whole point of what Elon wanted to do over there. Free speech, and in other words, people can learn things. And if there's misinformation, well, guess what? People are not stupid, and they can figure things out on their own, what's right and what's not. And plus, he put community notes out there. I love the fact that the community notes are being used to trash Democrats that make stupid lying statements. And the same goes for the legacy media. You can now trash them and say, "No, dumbass, this is what's true." And people can vote on that. So, see a video of Doug Lamoon talking shit on the street, and a normal dude destroying his narrative and pay. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that now. And you know what it is? People for the last 4 years. I mean, guys, look. I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but if we lost this election, we were in for some serious Soviet Union type stuff. It would have been a Soviet nightmare with Kamala there, because she still would not be running things, right? But they knew Trump was not going to run again if he lost. He even said it. He said, "This is my last hurrah. If I don't win this time, I'm not running again," right? Plus, they would have put his ass in jail for 20 years. That's the severity of the situation here, guys. That's what people need to realize, that we really dodged a bullet there. And I'm very happy that we did, because, oh my God, now we got to spend the next 4 years and then 8 with J.D. Vance turning all this shit around. And the best way I think they can turn around is what they're going to do. They're going to make the economic successes of people vote accordingly. You know, because American people always they forget how bad things get under Democrats. They always forget, and they vote them back in. And the Democrats are always like, their mentality, even now, guys, their mentality is, the American people made a huge mistake, but you know what? We are so magnanimous that when they come back to us, we will forgive them. I mean, think about it. These people are nuts. And I see the tide turning now already. Everybody can see it, but it's going to get a lot more profound as time goes on. Seismic shifts, they take their time. So I'm going to put this out again. Nobody wants to come in. That's fine. What else can we talk about? I got to close some of these tabs. What else do we have? Swamp strikes back. Former FBI. Nah, screw that. H-1B, Bill O'Reilly, probing. Oh, yeah, this one on Bill O'Reilly, on BillO'Reilly.com. Well, in this case, O'Reilly talks about Cheney, and he's talking with Fredo. Journalist and podcast host Bill O'Reilly dismissed the media meltdown over criminal recommendations against former Representative Liz Cheney. She broke the law. If she coached a witness, which is looking more and more like she did, because I did a video where I showed the actual the text messages. She got the girl she got her to change her lawyer, and then the lawyer that she did have, Liz Cheney, went to the Bar Association to try to get him punished. Why? For representing his client, because he didn't want his client lying on the stand, which Liz Cheney got her to change her story. In other words, to lie. So Cheney's in a hell of a lot of trouble. Let's see. It's time to start RPW Media Bad Jokes Friday. Yeah, come on in, Chris, if you want. You only have 2 years. Dude, I think we have a year, Lou. I think we only have, some say 6 months, because the second year, what's going on? Everybody in the House of Representatives is trying to get reelected. They spend that year on that most of the time. That's what they spend most of their efforts on. So to be serious about change, you have a year, possibly only 6 months. And that's why I'm telling you guys, they're going to hit the ground running. It's going to be bam. The liberals going to, oh my God, how do we do? Well, what the hell is that? Oh my God. I'm telling you, man, that's what he did. We saw it. We saw like an example of it. When Trump was making all those announcements, because normally in the first term, what he did is he'd make an announcement, like he'd say Pete Hegseth, right? And then it'd all jump on Pete Hegseth, and he would try to defend Pete Hegseth and not make any more announcements. Well, now what's he doing? You watched it. He said Pete Hegseth. They all tried to jump. Then he said Matt Gaetz. And everybody, oh shit, Matt Gaetz. So they left Pete Hegseth alone. They went after Matt Gaetz. Then he said Tulsi Gabbard. Oh my God, Tulsi Gabbard. Then they left. That's what he's doing, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to hit the ground running on January 20th, and they're going to hit every single day with new stuff of reforms. And I know it's not going to be a walk in the park. I know the Dems are going to heavily rely. And see, here's the problem. They're going to heavily rely on the courts to help them. Okay. And the courts have no right to do that. The courts will step in, but they have no right to. If there's nothing violating the law, the courts have no right to step in on behalf of the Democrats, and they're going to. They're going to. And that's why I say if we only had fewer rhinos in the Senate, you can all you need is 1 or 2 judges to impeach them and remove them from office. And guess what? All that nonsense will end. When they know that there's a punishment and it could affect their lives, guess what? They're going to act accordingly. Yeah, of course he does. But you know what? I don't think he broke any laws. They tried to say, oh, he had sex with a minor. No. what was discovered that the media seemed to skip over, what was discovered was that there's a guy who was actually a Republican in Florida, and he was the guy that did what did he do? He was in charge of giving out and renewing a person's driver's license, but there was something else that he was a party to. It was 2 offices he held. I can't remember what the other one was, but anyway, this guy was into drugs. He was into trafficking. A Republican in Florida. He was a real scumbag, and he was doing all kinds of crazy shit. And people didn't know it. Like, people knew, but like Matt Gaetz didn't know. And so there was a picture of him with I keep forgetting the guy's name. He's the author, the old guy, not Peter Navarro, the other one. He's a surrogate for Trump from Florida. The feds raided his house and all. I can't remember his name, but it was him and Gaetz and this guy. And Gaetz didn't know who the guy was, right? Like, he just met him and didn't know that he was into all this shit. And so when he found out that he was into all this shit, there was a guy that was running against him, another Republican in a primary. And this guy, okay, he created all these fake Facebook accounts of young girls, like 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 15, 14, claiming that this other guy molested him. This other guy was a school teacher. And none of it was true. None of it. It was all made up. There was no such girls in the schools, and nobody looked it up. They just, the politics, the Democrats jumped on that, and said, look at this. This is the party of corruption. Look what they're doing. They're even going after themselves or each other. And so when Matt Gaetz found out about this, he started taking moves to go after the guy. And then the guy tried to it was something about he was trying to extort money from Gaetz's father for some reason. But when Matt Gaetz started like talking to people about this guy and his criminal enterprise, this really happened, according to Gaetz and lawyers that are involved, that this guy actually had girls that worked for him. They were hookers, right? It was like he was like the little Jeffrey Epstein, right? And he had these young girls, underage girls that he was, with all the time, banging them, selling them, whatever. And he had a couple of young girls that he made phony driver's license because he was the guy, he ran the department that did it. And so he had these phony driver's licenses made for these girls saying they were 18 years old. And at one point, I think one of the girls testified, even though she tried to testify against them. But she said either that or it was an interview. It's kind of sketchy for me. But the story was that she tried to get into a party, I think at a club or something, and she wanted to talk to Matt Gaetz. And he came out and he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, forgive me, but you look awfully young. Do you have any ID? And she pulled out her driver's license and he looked at it. It was legit. He goes, all right, come on in. Right. And he didn't hook up with her or anything, but he was hanging out with her a lot. And because he was hanging out with her in a club where there's alcohol, that's what this scumbag guy started getting other people, not himself, to go over there and start reporting it to the press. Oh, Matt Gaetz was having a grand old time with a 17-year-old girl, underage girl and all that. And Gaetz basically, when it all started, he goes, look, yes, I date young women, but they're all legal. And when he said that, he had the knowledge that she had a driver's license that said that she was 18. Now, granted, the guy going for an 18-year-old, more power to him and all that. That's his thing. But at least he was legal. He tried to keep it legal. He's not a scumbag. He's not a pedo. Well, he doesn't go after underage girls. Okay, let's put it that way. And they did this because he was the most vociferous and vicious pro-MAGA guy in the entire Congress. And so they hated him. And that's why that's the same reason why they targeted Lauren Boebert, because she was the female MAGA and they didn't like her, the pro-gun woman from Colorado. They hated her. And so they wanted to get rid of her as well. And so when they target you, they target you. But that's what the whole Matt Gaetz thing was. Now they're saying, oh, well, this committee, the ethics committee report is going to be very damning, right? And they leaked some of it, right? But you got to remember, the Democrats on that committee, all of them hate Matt Gaetz because he's Matt Gaetz. The Republicans, the rhinos, every Republican on that committee is a rhino who hates Matt Gaetz because of what he did to Speaker McCarthy. because he got McCarthy ousted, right? He was the guy. He got him ousted, and they hate him for that. So of course they're gonna say anything they can to harm Matt Gaetz. But this is the kind of crap that was going on. I was watching the 50. Yeah, exactly. Need a consent form is exactly right. So let's get into this. So journalist and podcast host Bill O'Reilly dismissed the media meltdown over criminal recommendations against former Representative Liz Cheney. In remarks on his No Spin News show, the former Fox News host looked at the allegations surrounding the former Wyoming Congresswoman and co-chair of the sham January 6th committee. Representative Barry Loudermilk of Georgia, Republican, chairman of the Committee on House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight, there's a name, released an interim report this month on the investigation into J6 events and the J6 committee. See, these people never thought this day would come. It's either that or their TDS was beyond level 7, which is the highest known recorded level we have, and they just couldn't help, short run hedonistic. I'll worry about consequences in the future. I got to get Trump. I got to get Trump. The report outlined criminal recommendations against Cheney for alleged witness tampering in her communication with star witness Cassidy Hutchinson, and she did. Former Representative Liz Cheney used the January 6th Select Committee as a tool to attack President Trump at the cost of investigative integrity, the things that we're going to find out she did. But here's the great part with Fraser.
Liz Cheney.
Talking here. Yeah, here we go.
How many of you like Liz Cheney out there? Anyone? Hello? Anyone like Liz? So Liz Cheney led the January 6th committee to try to hate Trump, blame Trump for insurrection, all of that. Liz Cheney is a Republican, congresswoman from Wyoming. She lost the election. She's out. She teaches at the University of Virginia now. Okay. So Liz Cheney is the most vehement Trump hater on the J6 committee. Well, the Oversight Committee in the House now says that Liz Cheney may have tampered with a witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, who had to testify under oath in front of the J6 committee. This is the allegation. Now, we afford due process to everyone. All right, we'll have to see. But I went on a News Nation with Cuomo last night, and here's what happened.
Watch this. This is pretty good.
Liz Cheney is the biggest villain in Republican circles there could possibly be.
Why? Because she's a traitor?
The House of Representatives said no, because she was so hateful to Trump. And the voters of Wyoming booted her out, even though the Cheney family is one of the most powerful families in that state. But when the Republicans in Congress say she witness tampered, and then the press makes it out like this is some kind of revenge play, if Liz Cheney witness tampered, she deserves the FBI being all over her front lawn.
And she did.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's enough evidence to go in and investigate.
What they're calling witness tampering, I mean, I've only looked at what they're saying so far. Obviously, they haven't produced anything else. Not that that's some new standard. It's certainly not a legal standard of witness tampering.
Yeah, it is.
And there is no small irony.
Yes, it is.
You're going to go after her
federal law.
Well, depends on what she did. And I don't know.
Look it up.
So far.
Absolutely, because you can tell in the text messages. Just in the text messages alone.
Oh, no.
Cuomo, you're wrong.
I know what the law is.
And you're a lawyer.
I know I am. And I was a damn good one. What I'm saying is, we'll see.
If she did it.
We'll see.
If she tried to convince Cassidy Hutchinson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, you give her due process, certainly. But if she tried to convince Cassidy Hutchinson, all right, behind closed doors, which is the allegation, to testify a certain way in front of the J6 committee, then
she testified. Then she came back to testify again and completely changed her story because Liz Cheney and this other woman, Faith, whatever her name is, they got her to fire her first lawyer and bring a lawyer on that they knew would coax her into testifying the way they wanted, and that's illegal.
This woman violated federal law, period.
That's true.
And the FBI should be looking into that.
That's fine.
Well, they got to look into it. They got to investigate. And the press is going, oh, it's revenge. It's not revenge. It's justice.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't have a congressperson The legal word is suborning perjury. I don't know whether she did that, Cheney, but the allegation, and I think they can back it up, is that she met with Hutchinson and guided her testimony. That's against federal law. You can't do that if you are a sitting congressperson. Yeah. So, yeah, investigate it. But it's not revenge. You got to have this. You got to have some.
There's lawfare, and then there's revenge, but then there's also using the law correctly to go after people who broke the law.
Standards of behavior in the federal government.
Right.
But the press, the revenge. Oh, yeah. Does the press want to know what Liz Cheney really did?
No, they don't.
Do that?
They don't. You know they don't. Yeah, they just don't. All right. What's this? I don't know if Count Dracula drank his victim's blood, but yeah, well, there's the fact that and when you get into the legalities, you'll say, yeah, well, Rich, just because you bigot, just because she changed her testimony after Liz Cheney and Faith, whatever her name was, got her to fire her first lawyer that didn't want her to lie and got this other scoundrel of a lawyer who knew she would lie. That doesn't mean that that she coached the witness, you idiot. What are you talking about? Yeah, we got all that going on. So let's see. Yep, Trump. Global engagement. Here we go. So I think this is a good one too, because these guys are a piece of shit. The WHO. President Trump vows to withdraw the U.S. from the globalist WHO on day one. President-elect Donald Trump is poised to withdraw the United States from the World Health Organization, who frickin' lied on behalf of China over the COVID vaccine because China actually bribed a shit ton of people at the WHO to get this guy as their leader. They did because they knew he could be bought because he was bought before in Ethiopia. Immediately upon taking office, according to reports from his transition team, this decision aligns with his longstanding criticism of the organization, which he has previously labeled as overly influenced by globalist agendas and insufficiently accountable. He's correct. Trump's criticism of the WHO, dates back to his first term when he accused the organization of being overly influenced, there you go, by China and mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization has repeatedly pushed false and contradictory information throughout the coronavirus pandemic. They did. For example, they originally stated that wearing a mask would not be helpful before changing their tune to demand that all people wear them in every situation. Here's another thing. I don't know if a lot of you guys don't know this, but there was a summit, and they had come up with a guidance. The WHO came up with a guidance system that said that we're going to break the world down into different regions. And if a pandemic is coming to hit your region now, we can send guidance out of what you should do, either lockdowns or, vax, well, whatever, the mask, the stupid 6 feet distance, right, that they pulled out of their ass. But they said in there that you have the right, each region has the right to dismiss it. Like, no, we're not going to go with that. Thank you for the guidance, but fuck off, right? Well, Joe Biden, why would he do this? Joe Biden actually sent Antony Blinken, right, that criminal, and he is a criminal, over to the summit to introduce a couple of amendments to vote on. And one of them was to take away a region's right to refuse. So, and they voted on it and they passed it. So if a pandemic comes out, then an unelected organization, a foreign unelected organization, has sovereignty over the United States to say that you have to lock down, shut down your businesses, all the bullshit, because there's an election. I mean, there's a pandemic coming. Really? That's what Joe Biden actually did. They also claimed early on that there was no evidence of human-to-human transmission of the virus. It turned out that they were just defending China. The information was completely inaccurate. All right. On the Illustrated Primer website, Yakov Applebaum shares the links between the director general and China. For example, in late January, he met with China's President Xi. Well, Xi, there you go. So, long story short, we need to get the hell out of there. I mean, what the hell what have they done for us? Fauci. Let me see. Let me do it again. Fauci's response. Yeah, he is. And you know what? He's going to get a pardon if he hasn't already. Now, I don't know if it's true, but I did hear last week that they put out all the pardons that the presidents did. And Biden, if it's true, over 8,000 so far, if it's true that he's already signed, or whoever's puppet master has signed, or maybe they got a stamp of his signature. I don't know what the hell they did, but that was one thing that was posted. It was a chart that was posted on X. That was like Obama had over 1,000. Trump had like 340 something, 347 or something like that. And all of Trump's, you think about it, like all of Trump. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing? How's it going?
How you doing? How you been?
I'm doing fine. How about
I love
yourself?
that flag, man.
Where's yours on your television?
I know. I didn't turn it on.
Okay.
I don't know why. I didn't think about it.
All right.
So I just saw your flag. Yeah. Are you doing a channel yet? Are you going to start doing stories and whatnot?
We'll talk.
All right. Yeah, definitely, dude. Hit me up every night. I do my stories at night, but I'll take time to talk to you.
Okay.
All right. I'll send you some cool stuff you can use too.
Appreciate it. Yeah, How's everybody doing? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Let's get in it.
Yeah, people get pardons. Yeah, these preemptive pardons are like, that's a legal question. Well, the power of the pardon's absolute. Well, not really. Like if you aren't charged and convicted of a crime, how can you pardon someone? Seriously. How do you pardon someone if they're not even convicted of a crime? And plus, didn't I call him Ben Hur? Didn't the U.S. attorney out of Delaware, say that the reason after his interview, he realized that Joe was dementia laden. He's a potato head, right? He's onion head. And that he said that he wasn't going to charge him with those documents crimes, right? Because he said that he did not have the capacity to understand it, and that a jury would see him as a feeble old man who's lost his mind. Okay, so he lost his mind. There's other reports he can't even speak now. He's that bad, right? But yet he can make the determination of whether he should sign a pardon or not. He should issue a pardon. Doesn't it take like research, and you have to hear the story out and make your own decision? So we're supposed to believe 8,000 times he's done this, right? I don't think so. I don't think that makes any sense at all. What do you think, Chris?
Well, I've been watching a lot of what's going on through the libtards media, and something's going on here where they may make Kamala Harris
I heard
president to
pardon him.
Yep. That's coming down the pike.
Well, plus they like the first. They like all the first where they say, well, the first black female president, and then guys like you will come and go, wait a minute, sister's not black.
That's coming through the pike within the next couple of days. Possibly this is Friday. I would say next week. They're going to break in. They're going to have breaking news.
Yep.
Biden has, what's that?
Dementia.
And then they're going to use 25th Amendment. And then Kamala Harris is going to be the 27th president to start writing all of the little 47, all of the little pardons.
Oh, that's what they're going to do.
All the little things that's going in that she can say, this is my little thing. I was the president. Yeah, okay. But it's coming down. It's coming up.
This is what I think. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they said that to float the idea to see how the American people would take it. And here's why I don't think they will do it. Right now, Joe's not even heard from.
That's what?
Not even heard from. So the cabal running things, which I think is Obama, Susan Rice, and Valerie Jarrett and their people, okay? I think they're the ones that have been running things. Can't prove it, but that's what I believe.
We know.
2 out of 3 are in the administration, right? So they can do whatever they want right now in Joe's name. You put Kamala in there, she's a babbling idiot. Like, she is a moron. She's a moron's moron, but she can form a sentence. And she can realize, wait a minute, my name's going on this shit, and you want me to do what? I'm not doing that. Like, she would fight back, not because it wouldn't be good for the American people. She hates the American people. She's a Democrat. But she's the one that came up with all those asinine laws in California that have destroyed the state that Gavin Newsom went along with. But I think they like the fact that they have a brain dead president like Brezhnev. When Brezhnev had that aneurysm and he went brain dead, the Soviets were like, we can do whatever we want. Christmas came early. You know, that's what it was. And I think that's what they're doing here.
Oh,
you look good, man. You look really good with that flag behind you.
Got to remember now, she's running for governor, and that'll be a point for her to save the president.
Oh, yeah.
And California.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I was the one that saved Biden in this condition. Hey, but we all knew he had that condition day one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How about that?
But the libs don't think that way. It was like, oh, yeah, she's the one that helped Biden. Yeah. Just like Nixon, when Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon.
Yeah, he had
basically the same. Yeah, he had to.
He had to calm the nation down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't like Nixon, but he had to calm the nation down.
Nixon was a good president. He was
the most loved president. He won re-election.
China's trade with America.
70%.
Yeah,
on a re-election, but he also gave us a lot of really bad things.
Yeah.
Affirmative action.
He inherited a war.
He gave affirmative action, which forever made minorities look.
Well, he appeased to the left. He appeased to the Democrats then.
He did.
In that time from the 60s and 70s.
Right. And his downfall was it wasn't Watergate at all. That was
it wasn't. No.
Because you know what he found out was the Democrats, they were having their convention and they were staying at the Watergate, and they found out the Democrats were using the coffers, campaign money, to pay for hookers for the delegates that were staying at the Watergate. And he found out about that. And because, you know, you get a guy laid, I'll vote for your candidate. Bring me 2 girls, I'll vote twice, right? But the fact of the matter is that he sent the guys over there to catch that. Okay, that's what they said. They wanted to know what the Democrats were doing. Yeah, he wanted to be able to get proof that that's what they were doing, and he was the top law enforcement guy. They shouldn't have broke in. They should have gone in with warrants. That was his problem, right? But that's not what his downfall was. His downfall was telling his CIA director when he was alone with him in the Oval Office that he thought, he didn't use the word deep state because that wasn't created then, but he said that the bureaucrats were getting too powerful and that they were doing things that Congress should do, and I don't like it, and I'm going to do something to end it. And that CIA director was in on the whole deep state shit, and so 4 months later, he was out of office.
Which one was it? Ehrlichman?
I can't remember the name.
Mitchell Dean?
I'm terrible with names. The story's out there though now.
Ehrlichman, Holloman, Mitchell, and Dean were the 4.
It was Tucker Carlson who actually read the story when it was finally released. Like, they had that story locked up for like 30 years or something. They finally and he's the one that read the story on the air. He was on Fox when he read it.
Those were the 4 of the cabinet, and Nixon's
took us off the gold standard.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Yep.
But it was Ehrlichman, Holloman, Mitchell, and Dean.
And the worst crime he did was he ended daylight savings time. No, I'm kidding. Well, he did do that though. He did that 1 year. You know why though? Because he didn't want children to walk to school in the dark. Completely screwed up relations with businesses all over the world, but because they're like, wait a minute, we have timing here, we have daylight saving, you don't. What the fuck, you know?
I'm cool with daylight saving.
He reintroduced China to the world.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things he did, but I don't think he did that with bad intention. I don't think there was
no. That helped our economy.
Well, yeah, but
was one of the best things that he did was help our economy. And then that pulled the tides over to Vietnam. If you look at the bio and the economy on how Nixon opened up the East,
right,
to China, and then that filtered more ecoms our way. That tied in with Vietnam because we had just got finished. Well, I wouldn't say lose to them, but that tied in. So we had our economy from the 70s well into that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Zenith products that was coming along, Mitsubishi that was coming along, from that era and that time. And
but the country was under Mao. The country was under Mao Zedong at the time, a communist guy that murdered over 1 million of his own people. And
remember, it was two Chinas now. It was two Chinas.
What?
Red China and the Republic of China.
Yeah, but they still call it the Republic.
Right. But they broke away. That's what the what was the guy with the grocery bags in front of the Tiananmen Square? That finally broke it. That finally broke China. Even though the old guard was gone, and my man standing there with his grocery bags in front of this big giant tank, they wasn't gonna fire him.
Right, but the press, the Western press, they ignored the fact that when you look at that camera shot, that if you look over to the west, that people were getting mowed down by Chinese military.
But it opened up
down by Chinese military.
That was the opening of the embargo for China to United States. Made in China. Made in China.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we buy all their all their cheap shit. Right?
What now? Not now. Not now. People have woken up to say, buy America.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is true.
Right, folks? Buy America now.
Yeah. As iconic as that police chief shooting that guy in the head in Vietnam. Remember that?
Which one? There's a whole bunch of
cover.
The guy on the knees.
The one was on the cover of Life magazine or Time.
Yeah.
It was the photo of him getting shot in the head.
It
was on his knees. He went down and boom, shot him in the head.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was some time ago. And like you say, Rich, we can remember that. But we have an audience here that's trying to we're trying to educate you guys on
when we were living that shit, they were just a filthy thought.
Yeah. We were living that stuff. Yep.
These young whippersnappers were nothing more than a filthy thought.
Yeah, but now you guys see
Hong Kong. Well, you know what? You know what's funny about that? Chris, you froze up. Oh wow. I'm gonna put him in the back. He froze up. When I start seeing him move, I'll bring him back in. Because that was not a good pose. But the thing about that was Reagan and Maggie Thatcher, who I loved, I adored her. They kept asking China, hey, you want to take Hong Kong now? Because they knew that it was like another 10, 15 years that they had to take this. You could do it now if you want. And China went, no, it's okay. That's because they've been around for thousands of years, right? And no, it's okay. We can wait. Don't worry about it. And they wanted to wait because they knew that Hong Kong was becoming a powerhouse capitalist society at the time. And so they allowed them to build up all their wealth. And then when the time came, they overtook them and they took all that capitalism without firing a shot. So nobody said the Chinese were stupid. Right? Yeah, in the street, Sheila. Yeah. What's this? Say a prayer to God for that timeline not existing. Yeah, really. Well, I'm sure. Yeah, our Iron Lady. I don't know how you guys felt about her, but I loved her. I just did. The first time I ever heard her speak, she. You know how you guys have the prime minister has to go and listen to the people in Parliament, and she was there, and she said something about. I'm going to get the quote wrong, but she said about the whoever your liberals were. I can't remember, the Tories or the Labor. I don't know who the liberals are, but she said they would rather that the poor be more poor than the rich being less rich. In other words, she was saying you would harm rich people because you didn't want them to be as rich, but the same policies will screw poor people over even worse. And but the way she said it actually made sense, and normal people could actually understand it. But I loved that about her. I just thought she was great, and a lot of people hated her guts, which is another reason why I thought she was great. I was pretty much a contrarian back in those days. If you were big government, I hated your guts. Still do. Let's see. Chris, come on back in. I don't know what happened. He lost his feed. Let's see. Fauci holds. Oh yeah. This is a great one. Oh, there he is. You're back, brother.
Yeah.
You're back. What happened, man?
Had a hiccup.
Yeah. I pulled you down because the look, you were like this. Yeah. And I was like, that's not a good look for my friend. No, you're going out of there.
No.
Yeah. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this story right now. Ready?
All right.
You can chime in. Fauci holds a distinguished professor role at DC University, but hasn't taught a single class. So what do you think that's all about? Dr. Fauci joined Georgetown University's faculty last year as a distinguished university professor, but has yet to teach a single course, a new report says. Georgetown announced in summer of 2023 that Dr. Fauci, the former murderer of the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, would be serving as a distinguished university professor in the school's medicines department, the School of Medicine's Department of Medicine and the Division of Infectious Diseases. Boy, there's a name. Put that on a business card. As well as an appointment at the university's McCourt School of Public Policy. Georgetown calls the role bestowed on Fauci its most significant professional honor. Yeah, okay. Now, does that say something about Georgetown now? The guy that got caught lying about funding COVID, about funding gain-of-function research, right?
Yes.
The guy that killed little beagles, that did all kinds of crazy-ass experiments. The Dr. Mengele, if you will.
Yes.
The last 50 years or so, right? And these guys are bestowing upon him the most professional title. Yeah, okay. The problem with socialism is that you soon run out of other people's money.
Money. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maggie. I loved Maggie. They called her Maggie, but I always called her Lady Thatcher because I always had respect for her because she was no gentleman. Put it that way. She would verbally punch you in the face and the reason why, because most liberals, they'll stand there and they'll plant their feet firmly in air. But people like Maggie Thatcher and Reagan, no, they stood their ground. They had principles, and they didn't. Oh, there he goes again. Off he went, down he went. But they have principles, and they stood their ground. And that's what I like about people like that. Trump, think about it. What other president would have gotten Kavanaugh through? No other president would have gotten Kavanaugh through. They would have said, "Oh, come on, we better pull your nominee." Trump said, "Fuck that, you're going in," right? And he's doing that with now. We let Matt Gaetz go because Matt Gaetz is the one that said, "I'm going to get out," right? But it turns out that he's going to stand by Pete Hegseth. He's going to stand by RFK Jr. They do not want RFK Jr. in there because he'll destroy all their narratives about medicine, right? And they will.
It's a shame, man. It is really a shame that Trump derangement syndrome has gotten a hold of so many people that can't understand.
You're right, Bobby.
The people had a mandate that, we want Trump back in office.
Right. And
then you got these loons, you got these left-wing loons that's still thinking,
you know what?
No.
I dropped some. Here's the thing. They said in 2020, we want to take the country back to normalcy, right? We got to get rid of Trump. And Trump wasn't the abnormal one. They were. Their reactions. They had extinction bursts every single day in the press on this guy because he didn't give them the reaction that they expected. So they went nuts, right? And then accused him of being the one that instigated it all, right? So they said, we got to go back to normal. Was anything of the last 4 years normal? No. None of that shit was normal. It was all queer theory. It was all queer theory, which has nothing to do with sexuality. It has to do with create as many weird chaos situations as possible, because then we can propose things that we normally, under a normal society, people wouldn't accept, right? And that was 4 years of that, attacking the American people left and right, right? So now you're right. People wanted normalcy again, and Trump and J.D. Vance and the Republicans gave it to them. They're going to give them normalcy again. You know,
People
like you
saw that.
work hard.
Man.
Yeah,
They saw that.
What's
They
that?
wanted money in their pockets to go
Yes.
buy groceries for their family. They
And
wanted
the G.I.
to.
Joe with the kung fu grip for the kid at Christmas.
Now they see. Now people starting to see here. Wake up. This is a conservative thing here. This is not like a political party.
Right.
This is, I need money in my pocket for gas to get me to work.
Right.
And then I got to get food that's not going to break my pocket.
Right. You know, I mean, think about this.
What did James Carville say? It's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what I kept saying.
Thank you.
I kept saying this time around, this season, political season, I kept saying, it's still the economy, stupid.
That's
And
his
he was
phrase.
right.
And it came back to bite him not only.
You know what?
Four
They
times.
did not listen to him. He's an old war horse, and they did not listen to him because he went out there and said, you guys are going to lose because you're not doing anything right.
Because he was the old guard of the Democratic Party. This new liberal party, the woke people hijacked it.
Yep.
That's why JFK left. That's why Tulsi Gabbard left.
Yep.
If you played the speech of JFK, John F. Kennedy, his inaugural speech to these young people now, it's more conservative
Yep. Everything
than the liberals would even think about.
Right. Right. He was going to put us back on the gold standard, and I think that's why they killed his ass.
Yeah. Well, we kind of know what happened. Well, a lot of people still don't know. After I'm 62, he was murdered in
because
61.
Tucker Carlson again read that when it was released. He read it on the air. The CIA was involved in his murder, his assassination.
CIA wasn't involved in that.
Yeah, they were. They were involved.
No.
Yeah.
You know what happened? You know what happened?
I mean, you against every no you give me.
It was an accident that killed JFK. The second bullet was the shot from one of the CIA agents that was in the car that grabbed the rifle, and that's what shot him in the front, and he went back. That's what involved
because they were involved because JFK didn't play the game that they wanted. For example, JFK was known. I've talked about this before. JFK was known. I always pick on the Department of Transportation because that's when I was in college. Our professor, who was really cool, he was a conservative at Temple University, a conservative. Imagine that, right? Well, he turned around and he told us. He said that what happened was JFK, like he picked transportation. He said there's his transportation secretary has a secretary who has a secretary who has a secretary who has and it goes all the way down to the street in Philadelphia. So rather than have his cabinet meeting go, era transportation, tell me what your budget is, era. What he would do is he would have his staff call all these secretaries and go, what's your budget? What's your budget? What's your budget? He'd spent 6 months doing this all around the country. What's your budget? Because there's no internet. So he would finally get to the meeting and he would say, hey, Mr. And he would say, 60 billion or whatever, 60 million. He'd go, hey, I know I keep doing it. He'd say, well, how come we did a study and we contacted all of your secretaries down to the street level? And it's actually, instead of 60 million, it's actually 40 million. Where's the extra 20 million? And he embarrassed the shit out of them. And that's why when you had the Bay of Pigs, okay,
October,
JFK actually said to the Ruskies, get those missiles out of Cuba. It's 90 miles off my coast. And they said, You have missiles, Mr. President, 75 miles off our coast. And he said, no, that's in Turkey. He said, no, that's not true. I told my cabinet to get rid of them. And they were like, well, go take a look for yourself then. The cabinet told JFK that they did it, but they didn't. They didn't remove them. Why? Because they were pissed that he did things like that, that they felt that he went against them. And he did, but he was the president. He had the right to do whatever he wanted. And they didn't like that he would go around them to do certain things because he didn't trust a lot of them. Because they were full-time politicians. So.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I'm sorry that it's gone yet, but I'm sorry that it's gone, but yep.
Yeah, it was pretty effed up.
Yeah.
The way they did it. I never heard that theory about there was a Marine's gun in the car that shot him. I never heard that ever.
I was listening to one of the guys that like you. That was Andrew Wilkow. Andrew Wilkow has stated.
Does he still go on my site?
Yes, he does, and I listen to him all the time. He'll be back he'll be back Tuesday.
Dude, I should call him, call his screener, and say, yo, I'm the guy that runs that. Bring me on the air.
I was going to do that and then have him contact you, and then
I'll go on the air. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do it. Shit.
I know.
I love Wilkow, but I listen to Bongino now. But when Bongino's not on, I'm over at Wilkow.
Yeah, because Wilkow is over. Mine, like I said, is Wendy Bell first. Then I listen to Andrew, and then going home.
Yeah.
The rest of Dan Bongino, and then fast talking guy, the Jewish guy. Young boy, what's time?
Mark Levin.
No. At 3:00. I'm trying to think of his name.
Hannity.
No, I switch over.
Jewish guy. Michael Medved.
No.
How do I know all these? Shapiro.
Shapiro.
There you go.
Yeah, and that road. Yeah.
I don't listen.
I have time where I put my earbuds in and I listen to conservative thought.
I don't listen to Shapiro anymore because he made his bones as a never Trumper, and he also was the one that kept saying, you know, you're an idiot. He was talking to conservative. You're an idiot if you don't get the vax. He said, come on, we have a vax here that works. It's going to stop you from getting COVID. He kept pushing that.
He understood later on from what his wife had told him, because like I always tell you, Rich, I'm one of the ones that took the Pfizer shot and got the allergic reaction where I got a scar in my heart and scar in my lung. And I'm taking 11.
The first time I'm hearing that.
I told you before, Rich, when I got back on the line with you.
You did?
Yeah. 18 months after I got both shots.
Right.
I was out. I had to go to the emergency room at the VA hospital. They did the little 6 months thing on me. And the two doctors said to me, hey, did you have the COVID shot? I said, yeah. They're like, did you know which one? I said, well, I had the Pfizer. Hey, you might be allergic to the shot. Oh, well, really? So they did more tests on me and come to find out, yeah. And guess what? Like they say, I can't sue nobody because it was under the
EUA. Yeah, you had to sign that waiver.
Yep. So now I have to wait for 13 states and the people in those states to do a class action lawsuit.
Yeah.
13 states start a class action lawsuit. After that, then we can go into suing Pfizer.
Yeah.
But I hope to, be around for that. But if not, my wife understands too. I'm on 11 medications.
Are you really?
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus,
yeah.
I didn't know any of that.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was holding my stomach up. I gained 50 pounds.
Did you really?
And I can't breathe. I can't breathe sometimes.
I just gained weight because I ate too much goddamn food over the holidays.
I thought it was going to stop when I stopped smoking. I was still good up until I got the shot. So the medical doctors had told me, hey, man, you are allergic to the shot. Wow. Can I sue somebody? Nope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Although I would see that kind of like a bailiff law. I would see it like a bailiff law. For example, you go into a restaurant and you go to hang your coat up, and there's a sign there that says "Restaurant not responsible for lost or stolen items," right? And you go, "Oh well, my coat got stolen. They're not responsible." Now, what if that coat was a $30,000 mink that you hung up? A judge would throw that bailiff law out. They would go, no. You are responsible. Just putting a sign up. You attracted the people to your establishment to eat and pay you money for it. Therefore, they would not have hung the coat up without a security person there or a person working the coat rack, right? So so I see that as, well, my job told me, because Joe Biden told my job to tell me that I had to get the vax or I'd lose my job. Well, guess what? That signature then, if the government coerced that through your employer, oh, we didn't do it. The employer did. Yeah, but the government told me that I had to do it. So they turn around and say, wait a minute, they made me sign that.
Yeah. But remember, Rich, I had worked for the government.
Doesn't matter.
No.
I don't think it matters, but.
Well, we're trying to fight that now. What
class did he force? What was the first class of government workers that he forced to get the vax?
Military.
Well, you know what? They forced my son to get. My son was in boot, and he was down at Fort Benning. He was infantry, and he in Georgia, and it was before Dementia Joe put the mandate out. But the DIs were all telling the boots, they're like, get in line and get the shot. And it was Pfizer. The Army only had Pfizer. And so and they're not going to argue, no, sir. No, I'm not going to do it. Can you imagine a recruit doing that? No. So he went and got the Pfizer shot. And I was really upset about it. In fact, I wrote an email to Bongino about it because he was talking about mandates and all. And I told him the whole story. He actually read it on the air. I couldn't believe it. I'm listening. I'm like, this guy sounds like something I went through. I swear to God. I'm like, wow. This guy's an incredible writer. That
was the letter that you wrote.
I know, it was my email. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Wow. Yeah, so that's what I've been going through, man.
Dude, I'm serious. I did not know that. I never knew that. You might have thought you told me, but told
no, I did. Right, I just went through it.
I think I would have remembered that, dude. A good friend of mine like that got something like that.
I'm on 11 medications, 2 inhalers, and 1 nebulizer that I have to breathe through with medication. Seriously? Yeah, you want to see it?
Oh, crap, no, we're good.
Okay.
My friend, get this. I have a friend who what's called? He got the shot, and about maybe 8 months later, he started getting a cardiac problem, and it was acute cardio something.
Cardiomyopathy.
Cardiomyopathy or something. Something like that. And he couldn't walk.
I'm 70% towards that.
Oh wow. He couldn't walk. Yep. Right.
Yeah.
And he had to either go wheelchair or he had to do one of those, brace things. And he's like, holy Christ, I'm not even old yet. And so he worked his ass off because they said, people that have this, you got like 5 years to live. Right. And they said, and it's going to get progressively worse. And that was Emory. He went to Emory, which is very, high profile hospital. So that was in Atlanta. And so what happened is he worked his ass off every day. Like instead of like trying to make it down to the mailbox, he would try to make it 10 feet past the mailbox. The next day, 20 feet. Next day, 30. Right. Today, he doesn't even really need, he can't go jogging, but he doesn't need a wheelchair. He can get up, walk around, do whatever the hell he wants. But I think they were like, that's pretty miraculous, that you were able to do that. But, and he said that Emory said that it wasn't the shot that did it. Right. Even though he didn't have any heart problems prior to that, they said it wasn't the shot. And he said, but remember, he said Emory was very big on pro pushing the shot because they all got money for it. Right. They all got that extra cash. If a person died of COVID, you had all these people. He died in a car accident. No, it was COVID. It's like, no, he had a car accident.
They did that to my brother. They did that to my brother, my middle brother Marcus. They did that to him.
Yeah.
Yep. They did that to him. He died of
money.
COPD. They added COVID in there. Yep, they added COVID in there.
Yeah, but it's okay when we do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fauci, let's see what other stories do we have. Mexico. Oh, this is one. Ready? This is great. This I refer to as the Trump effect. Ready? Mexico to open shelters to house over 12,000 of its own citizens deported in Trump's illegal. Oh, get that. What that? Look at all this. Holy cow. What just happened? I just got invaded by pop-ups.
Oh, boy.
Holy crap. Look at that.
Get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there.
No, I got a blocker. There we go. We're done.
Oh, it's coming through the blocker.
Nah, no, they're not. That's in the video. But Mexico is gearing up to take back its citizens who have been living in the U.S. illegally. Did you hear El Salvador's leader said, yeah, we'll take them back? I was like, whoa, you're actually going to take them back? So they said, been living in the U.S. illegally, and officials are planning to open more than 12,000 beds and shelters across the country to house the new arrivals. They're not new arrivals. They're just being reacquainted with your shithole. The 25 planned shelters, which will have the capacity to hold 500 people, will open their doors on President-elect Trump's inauguration day. In California, Governor Marina del Pilar Avila, I guess that's the name, Almeida, boy, that's a long name, announced on Monday, according to Border Report. Whatever. This is a strategic plan to accommodate exclusively people who get deported after January 20. So, guys, think about it. You gotta love it. The world is changing for the better already, and Trump's not even in office. You gotta love it, man.
Remember that happened the first time when he was president-elect. Everybody started coming back to him.
Yep.
And now with the knowledge that he has now, wake up, people! Wake up, people! This is it. This is it. He already had his
I think this time around he really is. And now, like I said earlier, unless the judges go over bounds again and outside their authority and try to stop him, but he has the right to do everything he said he wants to do so far.
Yep, and he's going to do it. Yep, he's going through the finish line. I heard somebody say, "What if Trump had the same speech now?"
Yeah.
January 2nd, to January 6th, who would come? Who would come to the inauguration? Who would come?
Yeah, well, he's going to pardon. Yeah. He's going to pardon everybody except those that actually riot.
Yeah, the ones the asshole ones. We understand that.
Yeah, but you know what gets me about that? They all make it look like they make you think that all 10,000 people rioted, and they make you think that the rioters actually moved it into the building, which they didn't. All right. The rioters did not go, let's go in the building and do this in there. They didn't do that. It's not what happened. All right. And according to the videos that were released, that were played by not only Carlson, but other people, they showed Capitol cops laughing about shooting rubber bullets and tear gas into peaceful protesters would piss them off.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
They showed
the entered into the Capitol building. Well, wait a minute. The cop opened the door and waved me in.
And then they showed the guy that got shot in the bottom of his eye.
Yeah.
And saying, "Is this America here? We here protesting peaceably."
Yeah.
That was it right there. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, but
and they want to say the second impeachment was supposed to be Trump getting impeached for definitive insurrection, but yet and still he was never
charged with it.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to say he was never charged with it.
Of it.
And nobody there that went to jail was charged with insurrection.
Yep, Roseanne Boylan, she died too.
Yeah,
and beating on her. I mean, oh man, you know what it was? It was
the left's hate.
Yeah, and many of the cops that were there, they were told, like a lot of them were dressed as cops, but they were FBI informants as well.
Yes.
They were told we need something bad to happen, which is why, like, think about this. That's why they had the pipe bomb, that phony pipe bomb down at the DNC headquarters.
Where Kamala was at.
To this day, Kamala will never admit she was there because then they would say, well, why didn't you stay in the Capitol? You had a role that day. You were vice president-elect, but you were a senator. And you had a role at the certification.
Certified.
Because they wanted her down there in case they had to say, like, if there was no riot, if nothing happened like that, then they would say, oh my God, there's a pipe bomb and the vice president-elect is only 35 feet away from it inside the building. Oh no, these MAGA extremists, right? That's what they did. And so she never admits it, but I was in the Capitol the whole day. Yeah, well, we have video footage of her walking with her entourage and Secret Service out the freaking door at 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, they dragged her away.
Yeah, you hear this?
That's it. They dragged her away. You know about that. They dragged her away.
AOC barely survived in an entirely different building with no protesters anywhere near her. Yeah, I remember that. She literally tweeted to Ted Cruz, you tried to have me killed on January 2nd. He's like, are you insane? The proper answer is yes. Yes, she is.
She got the right, what is that, the acronym AOC? All out crazy.
Yeah, all out crazy.
She is all out crazy.
That's correct.
Dude, boy, she is all out crazy.
Yep.
Oh,
cabal moves.
Well,
Secret Service scandal.
And some of them are conforming. They're coming down. Like I tell you right now, I think Van Jones now is starting to wake up. Stephen A. Smith is starting to wake up now. A lot of those guys that are starting to wake up, like, oh, this haze been over my head, and I've been lied to all this long time. Charlemagne the God, I've been lied to. Y'all kept telling us that Trump was Hitler, this, that, and the other. But yet and still, the amount of people that voted for Trump was the same amount of people that voted for Biden in 2020. But yet and still, now I'm in the thing with that was stolen. I'm sorry. That was stolen. That was stolen. 2020 was stolen.
I wonder if anyone's going to ask AOC if we only have 6 years to live now. Remember when she was elected, she said we only have 12 years to live.
12 years to live. Yeah, that was 12 years ago. That was 4 years.
No, it was 6 years ago. So I wonder if we only have 6 years to live now.
Yeah. She keep listening to what's that old guy name?
you know what's really happening right now? Do you want to see the Young Turks, right? They're crazy. They're crazy motherfuckers. But Chunk Yogurt, actually is making a little bit of sense. But here's the bigger one: Anna Kasparin. She is actually coming out and sounding not MAGA, but not crazy. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many cats do you have? You know,
she came out and indicated that she woke up. She woke crazy. Up. She woke up.
I still think she's pretty far radical left, but
she knows more now. She knows more now.
The matter is, she's talking like she's not like a lunatic anymore, and she's saying, "Look, the wokeness is crazy." She goes, "It's infiltrated the Democratic Party." She'll never vote Republican, but maybe she'll wake the hell up and say that, you know, if she's got her eyes open that much, and the way I think about it is anybody.
See her partner Dave Rubin, what he went through.
Anybody at all who truly, and I'm not talking about their fake news shit. I'm talking you truly try to pursue truth. You try to go and find out truth. You always wind up on our side.
Yes, they always do.
You always wind up on our side because we're based on Constitution is our truth, right? Right? God, Lord Savior Jesus Christ. That's our truth, right? Christianity,
family,
Jews,
country,
religion, Muslim religion, whatever. That's our truth.
Whatever.
Right? But on their side, holy crap, they're just nuts with the shit that
they keep listening to all that old propaganda.
Yeah, but when you look for truth, you wind up on our side. You always do.
What's the old Superman saying? Truth,
justice, and the American way.
There you go.
Well,
That's it. That's it.
They took out.
That's it.
Out the American way. They took out the American way.
Yeah, later on, but
yeah, the woke.
Yeah, they woke. But look at it.
Ruben and his boyfriend.
Right there, what you just said, man.
Brave. That's the first time you said something that made me break out and laugh.
Ruben and his boyfriend. But Ruben was on the other side and came down and started talking, and now Ruben is on the right side.
Yeah.
Ruben is on the right side.
The whole gay thing, it never bothered me. The only part that bothered me was when the lefty ones would get in your face and go, I'm gay and you have to accept me and you have to love me.
Right.
Bullshit. I don't have to accept
That's
anyone.
it.
Right. But being gay, I mean, you know, the whole marriage thing, that was another. That was like, I understand that people say that marriage would be changed, the definition, and it does. And there's an argument to be made there. But to say that gay people can't be conservative, are you nuts? You know, all because, you know, what they do in the bed. I mean,
they voted also.
I know they voted. Yeah. But I'm saying that like for example, there are groups out there of gays that were against the whole trans thing, and it was they were part of LGBT whatever, but they were like, no, there's no way you should do this stuff to children, you know, and they caught a lot of hell. They caught a lot of hell for doing that, but they were right. I supported them.
Yeah.
I didn't send them money, but I supported them.
Hey, you do your thing. Just don't push it down our throats. They want to say we push our conservative values down your throats.
You and your God. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know of any president saying, well, you have to accept God in all of our government books and everything, all the rules, and we have to put scripture in it. No one's ever said that.
No.
Even though Thomas Jefferson created a church inside the Capitol building, and it became so popular, there were over 2,000 worshipers per week. All right, and then he had to create a second one in what was called the Department of the Army, I believe, building, and then a third church he had to open inside the Treasury building. He had 3 churches going, and it was non-denominational because he wasn't a denominational guy, right? They all said he was a deist. No, he was not a deist. He just didn't like any one particular religion, and so to make up for that, each week a different denomination pastor would give the service. I thought it was a brilliant thing, you know, and so he had a church. So and they're like, separation of church and state, Thomas Jefferson. So you think separation of church and state means that you can't have religious stuff in federal government? He had a damn church inside the Capitol building.
People getting that church, you know, Rich, people are really getting church and state confused.
Totally.
You know, totally confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna get onto that, but
it had nothing to do with what they think it does.
No,
no. Everybody understood what we understand about you and me because we talked about this at length. But everybody understood it all the way up until 1955 when what was it? The Unity Church? What was that church? Unification Church? Whatever they were, left-wing church, and it was in Philadelphia that they brought the case. It was in Philadelphia, and
it was in Philadelphia, but the lady. Oh, what was her name? Helen. Help me out there if y'all watching it.
Terrible with this shit.
She was the one that started the separation of church and state. That she didn't want her kids to be
right.
Pledge allegiance in the school, and that started the thing. And Helen! Oh, they did the HBO special on her too.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, but we know.
But that does matter. That does matter because that was the propaganda that started separation.
Yep.
That started.
But it had nothing to do with that. What it had to do with was the Danbury Baptist Church wrote to Jefferson and said, you got to help us because the state is doing something against our church. And he said, whoa, I'm in the federal level. I can't do anything on that level.
Right.
That was it. So, and at the time, and also, guys, at the time in the United States, every colony or state, if you will, they had their own adopted religion. All right. For example, Virginia was the Anglican state, and in their constitution or charter, if you're a colony, right?
Charter, yeah.
It said no man, didn't say women, sorry guys. It said no man not being of the Anglican faith can hold public office in the Commonwealth. Pennsylvania was the most liberal state at the time, and it said no man affirming a supreme creator may hold office in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so Jefferson saw that with this letter, and he responded to him saying, there's nothing I can do. It's a different level. He feared that since we just created this new thing called a Congress, that they would adopt its own religion and then try to force it on all the states as a federal level. So he went in and talked about the separation, meaning the federal government separated from the states and their religions. That's what he meant. And we know this because he and James Madison became very good friends, and they toured the country giving speeches about it. And people in the newspapers wrote down the speeches that they talked about. And so everybody understood it. It wasn't until the libnuts in the 50s, the communists started arguing it. L. Ron Hubbard? No. You ever read
Because they started
series?
I didn't mean to cut you off, Rich, but they started noticing that Billy Graham was getting huge.
Yeah.
That's what it was. He was getting huge, and those liberals had to, man. We got to knock him down. We got to knock him down a peg.
On the personal level, it was this too, okay? Liberals, for their immoral behavior, they do not like being judged. And what do Christians do? What do? We judge people. We do. We judge people, okay? We don't try to force your ass. Even the evangelicals don't try to force you. You're going to love God or I'm going to beat your ass. That doesn't happen, right? But they don't like being judged by people. And when you had a Judeo-Christian nation such as the United States, and let's face it, it was a Judeo-Christian nation. It was founded that way. You know, it's not a religion. Yeah, it was founded as a Judeo-Christian religion. I mean, a lot of all of our founders were religious, and a lot of them were even pastors.
Yeah.
You know, one of them, the guy that wrote the Declaration, wrote a Bible. I have a copy of it right over there, right? The Jefferson Bible. He wrote all the words in red. In other words, he wrote everything that Jesus said. Right.
Yeah.
I remember when Barack Obama tried to push some bullshit off on us when he said that we were the largest, the United States, because of the number of Muslims that live here. We were the largest Muslim country in the world. And we're like, Muslim country? What are you, out of your fucking mind? Right. And so, because they were a total minority here. Right. But then he went on, he just couldn't help himself. It was like the next week he came out and said, did you know that Thomas Jefferson had a Quran, and he read it and he wrote in it and he liked it? Right. And that's not the truth at all. The truth of that was the Barbary pirates. Right. Remember that? The Barbary Wars. Well, the Barbary pirates were Muslims, and they would go out and they would attack the merchant ships and they would slaughter them. Right. Kill all the people, take all their shit. And so we didn't have a Navy at the time. So John Adams was the guy he was the father of the Navy. He built the Navy. Right. And Jefferson was the one that said, OK, now we have a Navy. We're going to fucking use it. Right. So they would send out the merchant marines. They would send them out to protect. They would send out escorts, if you will. And that's where the Marines came from, right? They would send them out to escort our cargo ships, because that's how we made money, selling shit, trade, right? And so they would stop attacking them because they realized they would get killed, right? Well, what happened was, before that, Washington and Adams, they were paying up to 10% of GDP to these pirates. They said, well, what if we pay you? And they were like, would you stop attacking them? Yeah, sure. So we paid them. But then after a while, that wasn't enough, and they started attacking us again, right? So what happened was Jefferson said, well, we're gonna go over there and have a summit. So they went, I think it was in France. They had a summit, and they met with all the Muslims. And they said, look, have we offended you in any way? And the Muslim representative said, no, not at all. Why? And they're like, okay, so So we had a deal that we were paying you to stop attacking us. Yes, you did. They're like, but you attack us anyway. And they go, yeah, we do. And they go, well, why? And they said, well, because it tells us in the holy book that we have to kill the infidels. And so Jefferson comes back from that meeting back to the States, right? And he purchases a Quran because he wants to read the thing and see what they believe, what they really believe, right? Because they just told him the reason why we attack you infidels is because the Quran tells us to, right? So what does he do? He writes inside the book. He basically says, these people are nuts. And if you believe what's in this book, you're just as nuts as they are. And that's what he wrote. But Barack Obama lied, knowing that no one was going to be able to find a copy of the one that he wrote inside. But I believe David Barton has that. I believe he has that at what is it? Not Wealth Builders. I forget the name of his site.
Wall Builders.
Wall Builders. Thank you. I knew it was a W. Yeah, Wall Builders. Yeah. So I believe he has
the whole collection. Yeah. I have the whole collection. Yes.
Yeah, I think he has a copy of it.
He probably does. He has one of the
they lied
oldest
about
Bibles. He has one of the oldest Bibles in America, and the one that you recited that Jefferson did. He has those.
Yeah.
Well,
they didn't. Yeah, Wahlburgers. Yeah, the Wall Builders.
Wahlburgers.
David, I forget his last name, but they really attacked him big time.
Yeah, they did. They were right.
Yeah, they went after him really bad. Lied. I mean, told lies, because there was one case that came out where they said that Thomas Jefferson, that he impregnated one of his slaves, and it wasn't true. Okay, it was probably Randolph or Rudolph or Randolph, his brother, because it was the same DNA. And what happened was Wall Builders, David, whatever his name was, he said, look, he said what, and he wrote a book about it, right? And they said, oh, he got it wrong. No, he didn't. What happened was that his brother was known that when he came
David Barton.
Thank you. When Barton wrote that when Jefferson's brother came to visit. Now, when you visited in those days, you stayed a month. All right. So he would come over, and he was known to hang out with the slaves because he liked hanging out with them, and he would dance with them as well. Right. He would dance with them. And I think he fell in love with the one girl. They traveled over to England to do some business, and he brought her with him because he loved her, right? And I think he's the one that impregnated her. And when the guys that came out with the study said that the offspring, her offspring that are alive today, that they have Jefferson DNA, well, that's when all the lib nuts got in there and lied and said, oh, Thomas Jefferson raped his slave woman, and they pulled the study right away and said, no, we never said which Jefferson. And they believed that it was his brother, that it wasn't Thomas Jefferson. But either way, there was no rape involved. I think they fell in love. But David Barton put that out, and so somebody else wrote a book trying to trash him. But everybody that knows David Barton knows he's not a bullshit artist, right? And that he knows his history. The man knows his history.
No, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have several books of his.
He knows his history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost that time. It's actually after that time, but I'm having fun. Here, let me do this one. Julie Kelly. Ready? You know who Julie Kelly is? She's the woman that did the J6 thing. She wrote a book called January 6th. She's awesome. So here we go. Okay. Julie Kelly does this. She says, the driver confirms what I have been reporting since 2021. The Secret Service under Joe Biden ordered agents to wipe their cell phones.
Okay, yeah.
This what's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying something.
No.
All right, I'll start over. The driver confirms what I have been reporting since 2021. The Secret Service under Joe Biden ordered agents, this is the January 6th committee, to wipe their cell phones. This included messages from before, on, and after January 6th. This is in violation of federal records law and represents another federal crime since the events of January 6th were under investigation by Congress. every agency received a preservation letter by Democratic-led House committees before the phones were wiped. This is explosive, guys. The texts were never recovered, which means that they deleted them from Echelon as well. House GOP should subpoena every cell phone provider for the records, including official and personal cell phones of USSS officials involved in the deletion of records, such as the then acting director and Kim Cheadle, a top USSS Secret Service official, on January 6th. So she writes, during the committee questioning of the limo driver, it became clear no one, including Liz Cheney, planned to ask about the alleged assault by President Trump. She has so many cool things, because you remember they tried to say that Trump on January 6th, like, knocked the two Secret Service guys out of the way, grabbed the wheel of the beast, which they weren't even in the beast, right? They were full of shit there too. But she's right. Julie Kelly, she just pointed that out, and no one's going to listen to her. Like for example, they destroyed evidence, and you know what? They not only that they're not going to listen to her, they turn around and they said that they wrote in like a lot of the legacy media saying that no, they didn't delete any of their digital data. They deleted all of their digital data before the Republicans took over the Congress. They deleted it all, and that's a felony. It's against federal. Well, what did she call it? The federal letter law, I think it's called, or I forget. Yeah, I can't remember. But I think if they pursue it, I think Liz Cheney's in a world of hurt. I think she's in a lot of trouble. I just do. You mean David Barton? Not McCullough. David McCullough was the cardiologist who was big on the COVID scam. Like, he debunked a lot of their stuff. Yeah. Jefferson took his slave girl to France. Yeah, but it was Randolph or Rudolph. I can't remember. It was Randolph or Rudolph. It was his brother who took her. He went with her, and he asked if she could come along because they were an item, if you will. So, and they tried to lie, saying, "Oh, he lied," and they lied about Barton, saying that he lied about Thomas Jefferson not being the one, because the study never said that it was. They just said Jefferson DNA, and I guess you would say the evidence points to it was the brother. Liz Cheney has a real problem as the puppeteer's hand is firmly ensconced on her fourth point of contact. Yeah. You know what? Think about this, guys. She was the third most powerful Republican in the House of Representatives, conference chair. She was the third in charge, and she gave all that up. George Jefferson DNA. Yeah, they're moving on up, is what they're doing. Yeah, but he's an old Philly boy, and I say that because he called himself an old Philly boy. He said, "I'm an old Philly boy." You know, I always loved him. But what's called? Yeah, Liz Cheney's in a world of hurt for the things that she did, and it's not. And they're trying to focus it on the Cassidy Hutchinson thing because they're going to do it by her word. You know, saying, "Oh, I didn't change my." Oh no, you just completely changed your testimony after Liz got you to fire your attorney and hire a new one, right? One that they wanted you to have. So that's bullshit. But she also deleted all that info, and she should have to be held responsible for that if she really did it. And apparently she did. Hey, Liquid, what's up, man? How you doing? If that is unlimited Liquid, is that you, Liquid? Because your picture doesn't look the same. Or does it? Yeah, it does. Okay, sorry. It's so small. Let's see what else we got. Swamp Strikes Back. Nah. We did the shoplifting. Did we do this? Has the tide really turned? Yeah, we did. Actually, we did that. Fauci holds. Yeah, we did that one. Let's see. National debt grew by. Yeah, national debt in 2024 grew by $2.5 trillion. That's just. Oh, here we go. Burn it all down, Jill. We got Jill Biden, who is still like pissed. Burn it all down, Jill, consumed by vengeance. Vengeance, I say, as she prepares her White House exit. She wanted to stay another 4 years. By now, most of us understand that the real force behind the day-to-day operations inside the White House was Jill Biden. Let's be honest. Joe wasn't capable of much. Wasn't capable of much. Whether it was finding his way off a 4-foot stage or leading the so-called free world. Hang on a sec. David McCullough. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. John Adams. Oh, I thought you were talking about David Barton. Okay, cool. Yeah, McCullough. Okay. Yeah, McCullough. Okay, that is true. McCullough. Now I got it now. Yeah. I thought you were talking about David Barton because we were talking about Barton earlier on Wall Builders. By now, most of us, Lou sent me a picture of the cover of the book. So that's what I was just talking about, guys. By now, most of us understand. Wait a minute, I already read that. Okay. Ugh, Jesus. Jill was the one making key decisions that impacted not only our lives, but also the very existence of the United States on the world stage, all without any political business or negotiating experience. But she was a great doctor, wasn't she? Let's see what this.
Now, First Lady Jill Biden, Dr. Jill, was seated at the head of the table at a presidential cabinet meeting.
Yeah.
What is going on in your country, Alex? Who exactly is running the show there? What did you make of Dr. Jill's elevation at this cabinet meeting?
What the hell is she doing giving a speech at
What's that?
What is she doing giving a speech?
Well, no, she's sitting down at a cabinet meeting in the president's spot. I really, and you know what else? They said that along this timeline, that a lot of times Joe would go into a meeting and he'd bring Hunter with him, and the cabinet members, the senior level people, they were like, "What the hell's he doing here? You know, he's not run in. Like, get him out of here." And they were like,
Joe Biden on her back for basically his entire presidency. And, you know, a lot of people think it's a conspiracy that Kamala Harris did some coup to make Joe Biden step down. That's not actually true.
Wow.
Joe Biden, once he got COVID, he stepped down, Rita, because he couldn't smell little children anymore. So he's figured, you know what? I'm just gonna drop out. That's the truth. A lot of people don't want to say that, but he's tired. And let the guy rest. And Jill actually deserves a little recognition because she has been working hard, whether or not I like her politics.
That's funny.
You can't help yourself, Alex. There's a line.
Yeah, he is a funny guy.
And you don't want to just be near the line. You want to cross the line habitually. And I don't know what I can do about you, but it's a joke. But people will take it out of context and pretend you're being absolutely serious.
Let me ask Linda a question. Do you guys like her, the Sky News girl? I love her.
Yeah, I want to.
I don't even know her name, but I don't even know her name.
Come on, let us say something to us.
But when I see her, rest in peace.
Oh,
Olivia.
she gives the ribs to the libs.
so it's like, wait a minute, Alex Stein can be fun. You're right. At times he can be, but mostly he was only funny when he went out and did something physical. Like if he went up to some, like he did the one thing on AOC. When he was talking about, like, he was going, "Oh wow, she's the hottest thing. Look at those boobs and all." And AOC actually fell for it, and she was like, "Oh my god, yeah." And it was like, "Oh my god, he's like ripping you. He's like making fun of you."
Oh man, Commander, really? You would do that?
I'd smash. Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would. Anyway, here we go.
Dude,
now the president's talking.
You know, Commander, we should bring you on so that you could tell us like what you would
do.
Yeah,
come on, man.
As soon as you guys became the 51st state, and you're going to be a U.S. citizen, and you're you're going to have full rights, and you'll have your taxes will go down 60% the minute that you guys become the 51st state.
Yeah, y'all won't be saying "hey," you'll be saying "yo."
Yeah, Trump keeps talking about it.
Yeah,
he does.
We know that's a rib. We know that's a rib because that would have to go to England. You know, that would have to really go to Charles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sheila. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you were here, Sheila.
Okay.
Forgive me. Yeah. Is that her name, Rita? Okay. All right, I love her. Whenever I see her on a YouTube, like when I'm scrolling.
Yeah, I see it, and I check out too. Yeah, I watch also.
Yeah, she's just awesome. Oh, well, guys, look.
Whoa.
What?
Commander, what you saying, man? Commander, what you saying?
Fuck England.
Come
Well,
on,
he
Commander.
calls Australia. He calls it that fantasy land that doesn't exist, that fake country that doesn't exist. Because he's from Canada. Of course he's going to say that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Linda
Yes.
chimed in. Excellent.
I love her.
I love her, man. I think she's great. Yeah, I like watching her when she talks because she's funny and she's
and she's
gets it, in
right
other
to
words.
the point.
Yeah.
And I found out, Rich,
What's that?
90% of Canadians live near the border.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Well, I know in Australia too,
Linda. They know. They know because it's colder up in the northern plains that they come down towards below Toronto, below Montreal, below Saskatchewan, below most of the province was non-province, and y'all live below the coldness. So don't you want to be an American citizen?
They make
just saying
make great tools but terrible cars. And
we just saying.
Yeah, he's an
Come on, bring him in.
Boyfriend Alex Stein. Yeah, I remember that. I gotta get going soon because it's getting late here.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been on 3.5 hours almost. I'll go a little longer.
All right.
Let's see. AOC's. Yeah, remember when he did that, Liquid? When she was going to enter the Capitol and she got out of the limo, and he just starts like yelling, "Oh my God, she's the most beautiful. That's AOC." And he's like, "Look at the boobs on her." Like she believed it. She didn't realize who it was. He's like, "Yeah, Chris, like the wall in Game of Thrones." Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Now it's the dragon. It's House of Dragon now. That's the prequel. That's a good show. Yeah, I thought Sky News is Australian. I think it is. Sky News, they're the parent company of Fox, aren't they? I think they are. I think Sky News is the parent company. Let me see.
Yeah. That was Rupert Murdoch on Sky.
Yeah.
Sky News. Sky Network. Yeah.
Let me see. PFI News Media, which is owned by Fox itself. Sky
News.
Yeah, but it says here, now it's saying, well, as of 2023. It is owned by Fox News Media, which is itself owned by the Fox Corporation. It is the most, where are they saying Sky News? I know Sky had something to do with it. Hang on.
He owns, Rupert Murdoch is Australian.
Yeah. Sky News remains, as far as I can see, free of political bias. Fox no longer has any stake in the broadcast. Okay, so they did, but not anymore. Okay. I didn't know that. Huh. Too many libs. Yeah.
But that's it.
No, we don't want libs. No, we don't want Canada. Why? What's wrong with Canada? I love Canada, except for their communist ways, but that's not the people.
But the people want conservative ways.
The people want freedom.
What conservatism means.
They want freedom all over again.
That's what they want, freedom.
Imagine that. Yeah, a lot of it is. British Sky is, but Australia is a little different. Now, Australia lost their minds a little bit during COVID, let's be honest, right? Your government started shoving women up against walls of stores because they wouldn't go indoors and wear a mask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Outside and you smoke a cigarette, and if you didn't smoke it through the mask, you got arrested. I mean, we saw all that shit.
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah. Then again, in California, which is the land of the fruit and the nuts, if you're not one or the other, except for Uncle Bobbity here, they arrested a guy because he was surfing on the ocean by himself without a mask.
And they had 2 constables come to arrest him. Yeah. I watched it. I saw it. He was like, dude, I'm on the beach.
Yeah. It's like there's nobody else here.
Nobody else here.
Let me see. What is it? Canadians get 3/5 representation of if we annex them. Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind it. Not at all. Unless they all went leftoid, because there are a lot of lib nuts up there.
Yeah.
Sky's owned by Comcast. He works for Comcast, so he would know. How about that? Hey, Louis, I had read Comcast is dropping MSNBC. So they're not going to have the funding, which is why they're cutting everybody's salaries in half. Is that true?
Ooh,
Yeah, they
wow.
cut them. They said, "Get out, you evil wenches."
And
the race lady, Joy Reid, they told her you're going to take a 50% pay cut if you want to remain on air, and she's going to have to do it because I don't think anybody. Yeah, see that? Louis says yes, because I don't think anybody else would hire her. She's too much trouble.
NPR just came out, I think it was Tuesday or Monday, that indicated that if Elon Musk picks up MSNBC,
right,
that they would go, they would have their own network and they would bring the rest of them on.
Who, NPR?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
they said
under Trump, they're not going to do that.
Well, they want to save
radio.
They want to save their mouthpieces.
Yeah, but they're government radio, so they
right.
can't.
But no,
and Trump's FCC.
They're going to go. They're going to go to the same way as PBS funding. Even though you get government assistance, you can still go for funding, just like PBS. Oh,
Right.
your sponsorship, go. And that's what they want to do.
But the government has control over their. Well, the government has their control over the program. And to prove that, have you heard some of the shows on NPR since Biden got in?
Oh, yes.
The wokety woke nonsense you've ever heard.
Why you think I'm letting you know that? From what I understood from NPR, Elon Musk wants to buy MSNBC. Guess what? Guess what? We're going to do this. Okay. All right. All right.
So Lou says Comcast is trying to rid itself of MSNBC, like shaking off that nasty wad of snot. That is funny, Lou.
Yeah. All right. All right.
That is really funny.
Yeah.
See you, Bobbity.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. All right, guys. 3.5 hours. Pretty good. I appreciate you guys being. Listen to me. Hit the like button if you haven't already. How many we got?
Please do.
Please do, man. All right, cool. We got a good number there. 18. Not bad.
Right.
Someday we're going to have like a lot of people in here, so we got to keep doing this each week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't push. Just to let you know, very soon, American Greatness. It's or is it American Right? I have them in all my. Let me see. I got it right here. I have it in the where are they? I'll put the link out because I want you guys to go and I want you guys to go and subscribe. All right, I'm gonna put it out here. The guy's name is Carmen, and I'm going to be interviewing him either next week. I told him we'll do it after he's the guy that lets me. Now I've created a lot of my own the intros that I play to give us a couple minutes, me and Jade, to get ready, right? But I've played the one that I played this week and last week were this guy's, and I've done a couple of his before. I would always write to him and ask him for permission. He's a really good guy. He right away said, "Yeah, I checked your channel out. You have my permission to use it." But I still ask him every time because I don't want to abuse that. So I want to get into how he started that, like what got him into wanting to do that, how much MAGA he is. He seems like a really great guy, and he's just traveling throughout the holidays. He's going to be traveling for the 2 weeks of the holidays. So if not next Friday, it'll be the Friday after that. And so what I'm going to start doing is people that I interview, I'm going to cut down, like this is 3.5 hours. If we do like a half-hour interview, whatever, an hour, I'll just cut it down to that and push it through the same marketing that I do my regular videos. And that way, we could probably get more people to come in if they see the videos. You know, what's this? I'm doing AI. Yeah, I saw the one. You had the head that went up and down. It was like the pharaoh thing or whatever it was, the Egyptian, whatever. Free content. Nice. Do it. I'll use it. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll use it, man. You get something cool, I'll put it up there. I'm up for using anything like that. Yeah, a good site to use for a lot of that is Canva. You familiar with that, Lou? Canva, Canva.com. That's a very good site. And you know what? I pay for it because I want the extra, the pro version to get extra stuff. But you can take a look at my Rumble and my well, I didn't do it for BitChute because BitChute. Hello, BitChute. By the way, everybody from BitChute, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends. We can get some more of you guys in here. What's called what was it on Frank's Speech? I'm on Frank's Speech now. And so at the end of that on Canva, I created because they don't have, none of the others that I know of have the end screens where you can, you know, put up another video to click and see it. But I put the end screens, I created them for Frank's Speech and for Rumble just to advertise like the other links, all the social media links and stuff like that. But I did the video, music and all up on Canva, and it's pretty good. You should check them out. Whew. All right, guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to shut it down now. Chris, you can hang out. You don't have to hang up. Just hang out. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Please check out the videos during the week. Love every single damn one of you. You mean the world to me, but I got to leave now. Sorry. All right. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, love you all. Have a very good, happy New Year. Hope you all had a very good Christmas.
Everybody out there. Lou, Bass, Linda,
Sheila,
Uncle Buddy.
Love all you guys.
Everybody.
All right. We will see you later. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Good night. See you guys. Later.